welcome to the 42nd annual Aki Aki Festival of the Ancestors. My name's Balatik, and you can tell that to Conja Club. And welcome to this other show we're doing called Scoundrels, Inc.
Oh, this is the intro. Okay.
Incorporated.
This is the intro.
This is the intro. We are really on Pisana right now. I've got it in my ear from our producer. Yes, we did miss the festival by a few years, and it's just the desert. And oh my God, are those sinky fields? Oh my Lord. Yeah, I know trivia. I know a thing or two. But I also know that we're here to talk about Star Wars. And I don't know who's more important to introduce first. So let's start off all the way down here.
That tickles.
To our friend of the show.
Friend of the, he's like
friend of the show. This is his show.
Hi, friend of the podcast. Kevin Smets here. Nice to see you. I'm sitting right next to this real dandy of a dude, Frank.
That's me, Dandy. Dandy is my middle name.
Yeah.
Frank Dandy Janisch.
I'm sorry, I did not come prepared at all today. My name is not Balatik. It is Brandon Hanna. This is Kevin Smets. This is Frank Janisch. And over here, to my left, possibly your right, I don't know how cameras work, we have some other guy.
Hi, I'm some other guy. Glad to be here.
Some other guy, Sullivan.
Also known as Sean Sullivan.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Sean Sullivan, Sean Sully, one of the two.
Either
way.
Our fortitude here. We're just pushing on. Like, I think at any moment we probably could have stopped them and like, let's redo.
Yeah, let's restart the intro.
That
we could.
We're pushing forward. No,
but we're not going
to. We're doing
to.
it live.
No,
this is it.
Yeah.
We're doing it live, recorded. Recorded live.
Recorded live.
Live to tape. But
that's what they say, even though there is no physical actual tape.
Yeah,
wow, people are really enthralled with this right now.
Yeah, well, everyone's turned it off.
So real quick, last week during the intros, we had a tech malfunction.
We did?
We did. The mic stand fell off.
Oh, well, Brandon, I mean, that's more of an aesthetic malfunction more than tech.
It's an...
well, actually, the video did cut out for like...
Right. It was a video malfunction. Yeah. Video cut out. I just want to point out we have another equipment malfunction where we made a point we were going to have some better lighting for this episode.
It probably looks a little better than last week.
And we didn't put up the better lighting.
No.
What happened?
I forgot, and I didn't mention anything until we started because I was going to do this bit.
Yeah,
the bit's more important.
He did it
than
for the
lighting.
bit.
Yep.
All right.
We all
Our
have
demise.
The ring light eyes, you know, where in the eyes you have the little circle.
Well, like the Kaminoans, they have ring light eyes.
Oh, it fits
because Brando's.
He's as tall as a Kaminoan.
Yeah.
Lama Su.
Or Tonwi.
Tonwi. Dad, Tonwi's here.
Dad, Tonwi's here.
All right.
Oh boy, where do we go from here?
Well, you got the
right,
notes. Read the notes.
I don't know.
All right, so we're gonna real quick.
Just gonna write this ship right here.
News across the galaxy.
You like that name for it? That was just
That's what you. Yeah, you put that.
I don't
there.
know if I.
Can you do it? But I want you to do
News across the galaxy.
Oh, there we go.
Excuse me, I'm scratching an itch over here.
Oh well, last week was rapid fire news.
Was it? Yeah, I think we should have a new name for the news
every week. Okay, I can do that.
And then, at the show's 100th episode, we'll have a big trivia show about our show, and we'll see how many people can name all of the news. What was the first news?
After the 100th episode, we vote on what the permanent
yeah. But we wait for 100 shows, so 2 years.
So we've got 100 names. Jeez.
News across the galaxy. A world divided. That's my Clone Wars. That's my Clone Wars.
Okay.
Lauren is the voice of... Tom Kane does it, but it's Hugh Laurie, but it's also
Hugh
world
Laurie.
Divided.
I got
Hugh Laurie does the
not Hugh Laurie.
Tom
House.
Tom Kane.
Tom Kane.
But Hugh Laurie is he also voices
Wolf.
I like to think it's Hugh Laurie though. I'm sorry.
Did you know Stuart Little was written by M. Night Shyamalan?
Admiral
yeah,
Wolf
right?
Yularen.
That's crazy.
That's true.
I know.
Wolf Hugh Laurie, yeah. And you know that
and he appears in what original trilogy film?
A New Hope, guy.
Great.
And you know there's an empty seat in that same scene, and you know whose seat that was? Orson Krennic's.
You're right. Yeah.
Well, I mean that's my head canon.
Right.
I don't know if that's real canon.
No, but I mean that's
somewhere.
I think there's actually multiple empty seats, but I think his is one of them.
It's got to be one of them. Yeah, it makes sense.
That's what I believe.
I mean, the guy was leading the Department of Death Stars. I don't. What's the
Department of Death Stars?
We're standing on my achievements, not yours.
Department
of
Death
Can we get some girls in
That's
here?
a great line.
That's the same actor, but that's from The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get some girls in here? Can someone get some girls in here?
Because he's the guy that he's like, do you think this gives you power over me?
Yeah.
Right?
Do you feel in charge?
Yeah, do you feel it?
John Taggett.
All right.
Daggett.
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 Tivik.
He's the.
Better be ready. In 2 weeks,
head
I'm
of the
going for the title for the final
board,
time.
the Wayne
I,
board.
you know,
Kayfabe.
I've got a lot of faith in you on that one.
Thank you. I'm working hard. I got to go back to the dungeon right after we record and start keep training.
I'm just worried Ike Kalinowski is going to take you out on that one.
I'm looking forward to
All right, Andor season 2 likely will not release until mid 2024, according to Tony Gilroy. He said we started shooting in November on part 2. I don't know if our past pattern was 2 years, but I mean, I'll be on. We'll shoot. It's so funny how you
Like you just wrote the quote verbatim. Like
it's so funny when they do that in a quote where they don't at all edit down the quote.
Yeah.
Anyways, he basically saying that, you know, it took them about 2 years to do Andor season 1. Probably going to take them another 2 years to do Andor season 2. Are we okay with that? And this is kind of going to, I mean, not are we okay with that, but how do we feel?
absolutely.
I'm dying.
I might be dead by then.
That's actually, we might all be dead by then.
I don't know.
Let me tell you why. They build sets. They built an entire city. That whole city on Fennec, we'll get to it, but was built on a mine yard or whatever, some real shipping yard out there. And forgive me, I don't know where they shot it, but they shot it on location. So
Brooklyn.
when you're not shooting on the volume, yeah, like it's gonna take them a long time. Like, but this is why that movie or the show feels
Like a movie.
crazy, like a movie, right? Like on locations, it's like you have a living, breathing environment. They're there. You see the wind in their face and stuff. And no, I like the other shows, by the way. I like all of them. So. Even Book of Boba Fett I loved, but you could tell the difference. So if we have to wait a little longer for that, so they get their butts out to another location for these planets, that's fine by me.
Absolutely.
But there's so much content anyway.
Yeah, there is so much content. Like, 2024. That's cool. Like, what did they say? What part of later part of 2024?
It says mid 2024.
Mid 2024. So okay, so May 4th. That's what I'm assuming. Just
Yeah.
And they'll shoot from November till August, which seems like a lot of
and then he said like a year for post.
yeah, post production took them about a year last time, which probably means at the earliest is fall.
I'm saying May 4th, 2024. Like,
No, at the earliest is fall 2024.
Fall 2024.
Yeah,
so 2
probably.
years.
Wait, how
So
many
not
seasons
mid-24.
is it supposed to be?
2.
Just
Two.
the 2?
Just
yeah,
2.
yeah.
All right, I guess I'll wait.
So
2 years.
Christmas.
And we know there's a time jump between season 1 and season 2.
Right. And that's going to lead season
right
2 will
into
lead
Rogue One.
right up to Rogue One, which will be really interesting to see if we see Cassian on the Rings of Kafrene, like
Well,
Are you gonna
that's
see
where it'll
Tivik?
end.
Are we gonna see
Tivik.
Oh, hell
Tivik
yeah.
and K2. And
Actually,
actually,
crystals.
they would kind of have to get all of the.
The original, the cat.
They'd
like,
have to
the
kind of
cat-
get the whole,
Okay, Clive,
basically
my
the full
arm.
cast of Rogue One, right? Like they'd have to get all of the they'd have to
Jimmy.
get General Merrick
Yeah, yeah.
and
Bale.
maybe Jimmy and
Yeah.
Jimmy, are we talking on a first name basis?
yeah, Jimmy.
Oh,
you
you
know.
give called
Tom
Jimmy.
Weed.
JS, whatever, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Maybe get
I mean,
HC a call.
I-
HC a call and put the V
yeah,
mask on.
yeah.
Some HC.
SO. I mean,
call
short for K2 SO. Sorry.
personally, I call him J Dog, but
J-
you know, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like 2024. Yeah, there's gonna be also what do we have coming out in between that though, right? Isn't it Ahsoka?
We have at least Ahsoka,
Mandalorian.
Ghost,
Mandalorian, yeah.
Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew. I mean, yeah,
Ghost
there's like
shit.
Plenty.
there's like 70 billion
I've
shows
seen
coming out
that, like,
between.
I think like 7 other MCU
Yeah.
shows too. So
Right.
we're busy, dude.
Right, we've got plenty because I think right when this is done, we have something coming out. Is right when this is
Bad
done,
Batch.
we have we have
Halloween ends.
Yes, Brandon.
Tales from the Jedi.
Tales from the Jedi. That's right. Yeah.
right
yeah.
when this comes out.
Also, Bad Batch comes out in November.
Is it? No, I think
Or is
Bad Batch. We talked about this last week on the show.
I wasn't here. You're
That
gonna
was
have to
his
explain it
life
to me.
model decoy.
Uh,
That's an MCU deep dive right there, guy.
Bad Batch is beginning of next year, probably.
Okay.
We don't actually have a date for
Okay.
it.
Why did I read November somewhere?
I think it was originally supposed to be November, and they moved it,
Okay.
but they didn't tell us where they moved it to.
Well, I wasn't here last week, so I'm glad you told me this
You
week.
were. Frank, we can't do this show without you.
All right. So,
Quite literally.
Oh, Frank's here.
Brandon, are you going to survive until 2024 without Andor season 2?
Oh man, I don't know.
Shoulder right here to cry on. If you need it.
He's got to get real low based on that chair.
That's called acting. I wasn't really
Don Reed's
crying.
here.
Wow, But those are real tears. I'm gonna tell
Real
you.
tears.
Real tears.
I draw from real pain. That's what really does it for me. Like when I heard Rey Palpatine, I just bring those feelings back.
The positive emotion because you're so overjoyed.
So overjoyed.
Tears of joy.
Yes.
Tears of joy.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been better delivered.
Sure.
He's your grandfather. Oh, okay.
All right. Sure.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to jump off this ledge now. Oh, the Falcon's there. Didn't expect that.
Hey, I thought we said we were going to be more positive.
I don't know. I just, once you go down to Darth Pack,
Yeah.
Forever it will end up at an Arby's. I am, I noticed a lot of TV shows lately, especially like Stranger Things. They take a really long time between seasons lately.
And they turn out pretty good, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But like, whatever happened to like yearly releases? Like every fall, you're getting like a new season.
And meanwhile, I feel like Cobra Kai just keeps shitting seasons out.
I'm like, yeah, they're like apparently a movie now that's not even connected to the series. But that's neither here nor there.
Look
That's
at the difference
yeah.
of quality. Like you're talking like every year they would have like a new season of Scorpion, which I actually like that show, or a new season of Alias or Lost, which all good production value.
Right.
But
But
when you're
it's-
looking at a show like this, like it's
But it's also all the same sets.
Right.
That's
right.
the other thing too. Like you brought that up, a really good point is they don't have to rebuild any sets for Scorpion especially or Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Right? Sets aren't changing much for Cobra Kai. Yeah, some of the set dressing will change.
Nor effects.
Yeah, and there's no effects on
Yeah.
Cobra Kai. Well, there are effects on everything now. But
Yes,
no-
but not to the level
yeah,
of
not to
what
that level.
Star Wars is doing, and or even Lord of the Rings even.
Let's move on to the next one.
I mean, if George Lucas was involved, they would come out yearly. You're like,
Yeah.
just put it on a blue screen. Well,
what if we
I can do anything in post.
what if we just let's
Well,
call
what are you
that
talking about? That guy took long too. He took like how long between
3
Return
years?
of the Jedi,
2.5, 3 years.
between Return
I
of
was
the Jedi
waiting
and
for
the Phantom
ILM
Menace?
to develop
Oh,
the
sure.
technology.
Yeah, Phantom Menace, yeah.
Didn't
83
you
to
watch?
99, dude.
Didn't you
Yeah.
watch the ILM doc? The technology just wasn't there, Kevin.
He was just waiting. I get it.
It's just I want to do a series, but the technology
True
just
story.
wasn't there.
That's pretty.
True
That's pretty
story.
good. That was pretty good. I don't know who uses better, yours or Brandon, but I think
the
yours.
mic,
special
The
effects.
mic does help,
Your
yeah, because I can
monitor,
hear it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Special effects houses, they don't exist, so I just made one.
He's like more like a prepubescent George Lucas. You're
so-
George Lucas on the
so-
verge of having a heart attack.
I wanna-
I'm going to
yeah.
talk about American Graffiti then, because I just really love classic cars and, driving in the valley and, just like going and getting like milkshakes with my friends. And,
this one's not on the news here, but you bring up something really interesting with American Graffiti. E.C. Henry, a YouTuber who does these really interesting videos on like concept ships and the models of Star Wars, and one of the series he's been doing for the last like year or so. He's been breaking down the fleet scenes from Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, so that because there's so many random like junk ships in the back there
Yeah.
that like they don't have a name. They're not a ship that you've seen before. It's just like, hey, this is the Saturn V rocket and like a German tank, and we mashed them together. That's a ship just to fill.
That sounds
up
kind
this-
of cool, actually.
Well, it's a really good. I'll send you the videos. They're great. E.C.
No,
Henry.
I'm just saying the Saturn V and the German tank.
Oh, sure.
I want to see that.
Well, most of the ships in the original trilogy are like they all include parts from a
was it
one.
kit bashing, do they call it?
It's kit bashing where
Yeah.
you take multiple model kits and you just junk stuff up. The Falcon has like, yeah, I'm pointing to the Falcon model. For those audio listeners, I'm pointing at a Falcon model. The Falcon has this single part from a piece of German artillery, like repeated a billion times, and it's on almost every Star Wars vehicle
That's funny.
in like somewhere, to the point where for the prequels, ILM just made a mold of it so that they can just pump out
Dang.
not the tank, just that one piece.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah. Okay.
And then they also made that mold in multiple sizes so that now they don't have to worry about, well, if we get it off the model kit, it's only this one size.
Right.
It's now they can use it in whatever size, and it's called the Universal Greebly, and it's really whatever.
Interesting.
But E.C. Henry just released a video on the original X-wing and the original X-wing design, and how the nose of an X-wing is a dragster because of Lucas's obsession with street racing.
Totally.
And then also that the original X-wing model is in Return of the Jedi.
The original.
Like the prototype X-Wing
Oh, wow.
is in Return of the Jedi.
That's really cool. I did not know that.
But in like 2 shots and that's it.
Huh.
So interesting little tidbit. But
What's the name of the YouTube for the fans?
it is E.C. Henry.
E.C. Henry.
And he mostly focuses on, well, at least lately, he's focused a lot on like Star Wars models. Another interesting one that he showed in Return, because there's so many ships on screen for Return of the Jedi, they used a die-cast TIE fighter that you could just buy off the shelf. They use that in like multiple spots.
gosh.
But the funny thing is, the back of the TIE fighter has a spot for like a kid to hold it, so they can play play with it. So there's actually an alternate TIE fighter model because they used the toy.
Yeah.
So it's like this.
It's like a half oval like circle. Is that the model? Like
Yeah, no. It looks like the regular TIE fighter, but it's got like this weird shelf on the back where
Yeah.
normally it's just the round engine. It's got a weird shelf because that's
Yeah,
where
yeah,
a kid would hold it.
I feel like I've seen
And
that. I think I know what you're
they're
talking about.
flying. They're in the shot where you see either Vader or Palpatine's shuttle flying into the hangar.
Okay.
You see the TIE fighters flying there, and it's the wrong TIE fighter model
Interesting.
because they should have only shot those from the front because they're identical on the front.
Gotcha.
But in the back, they're not.
Interesting. Look at that.
All right, let's get to actual news here.
What do you mean? This is news to me.
This is news. This is my version of last week's KOTOR talk.
Yeah.
Sorry, fans.
Model talk
Yeah.
with Sean Sullivan.
Entertainment Weekly interview. Andor will be the last time we see Cassian played by Diego Luna. Now, I find this story really, really interesting because he basically says, for me, it's a beautiful journey. Now that I have 24 episodes, basically 24 short films to tell the story of Cassian. He's not interested in doing more with the character beyond that. I think that makes sense. What I find really interesting is that this article doesn't say we won't see someone else play Cassian.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I doubt they'd recast him. I think Diego Luna... I don't think you can capture that lightning in a bottle you have had with Diego Luna. He is so good in the part.
Well, I think when you look at what they're doing with Andor, right, you would have to go younger than what he is where we're starting in episode 1 of Andor. And I think as he says in the article, like he's not getting any younger. So
Right.
if you're going to play a younger Andor, you would recast for someone younger. But also, we're going to find out really like what Andor is essentially all about through these 2 seasons of Andor, and then you have Rogue One. So what more really would there be to tell about Andor? I mean, there might be some short stuff like Force of Destiny type of like animated stuff that might be voiced by somebody else. But other than that, I really don't know what else you could tell. I mean, you're just filling in gaps that don't necessarily probably need to be filled in for these little one-off missions he might do. And that might be a cool like comic or a book, but live action, this will definitely probably be. It makes sense that this would be the last we see of him play Cassian Andor physically on live screen.
I concur.
Star Wars What If? What if Cassian Andor was an Imperial spy?
That'd
See,
be cool.
okay, you know what?
See, that's
That'd
cool.
be freaking cool.
That's cool.
Would that
You'd be
be the animation?
I would actually see Cassian playing like the Hand of the Emperor, like Mara Jade style.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Like, that'd be a cool role for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. I don't really, I don't really see, based on the fact that we're getting flashbacks in this, I'm assuming the flashbacks continue for the whole series. I don't think there will be much more to tell about Cassian. So
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, they could. I mean, there's always that. If we got a story good enough, if we got a story that's good enough.
Sure, and I'm
But
sure.
you know what? Don't even try and think about it.
Is that,
Don't. Just
is that
'cause
Robert
it's-
De Niro is making the decisions for? Was that your
Was
Robert
that?
De
I don't
Niro?
know if I was had somewhere in between there. I don't know.
It was good.
I'm going to play Cassian Andor, huh? Look at me, huh? I've been in this fight
do,
since I was
you.
6 years old, huh?
You do. You.
I know it's kind of more like Rodney Dangerfield.
Look at me, huh?
Death Star.
Oh, it's more terrifying, the Death Star.
That's no
my
moon.
wife!
Oh.
All right, do we want to go one of the positive?
That's no moon, that's my wife.
Oh man. Okay.
The misogyny of the 1980s. Am I right, guys?
Oh man, if we had Rodney Dangerfield.
Speaking of
Way to go with that. I knew you were coming. This is why you're the best.
Oh,
speaking of misogyny, Star Wars burlesque parody
So easy way to get to it.
coming to Los Angeles, California. It is called The Empire Strips Back.
What a name.
And it has received rave reviews in San Francisco. Now we're getting it in Los Angeles. So if you're a Los Angeles native, you can get tickets now.
Or if you want to fly to Los Angeles.
Or if you want to fly out to Los Angeles.
But it's only for the Los Angeles people that are here.
Yeah.
You can't. They're shutting down the city borders once this show comes around.
So, this was just kind of a fun thing. And Kevin, you've been to one of these.
Yeah, I remember I went to one like in 2008 or 2009, and I just remember it's really campy. Like, it's not like what you think. Like, it's not like you're going to some strip club and they're getting dirty for you. Like, they're literally like, there's Boba Fett with boobs. You know what I mean? There's C-3PO and R2-D2, and they're dressed scantily clad, and they do the whole storyline. I remember it was A New Hope. I think it might be the same troop, and now they're finally getting into the sequel. But like, so I don't know what their Yoda's gonna look like. Can't wait for that.
Oh no!
Wait. So when you saw it was A New Hope.
It was because I remember, but they did have a lightsaber dueling it because I think it was just probably a.
Was it called A Nude Hope?
I would hope so. We should probably dig into that.
I can't wait for episode 1. Jaja, use the boomba.
I've been laughing this whole time because now all I can think of is my name is Boba Fett and I have the sandbags of Tatooine.
Wow, that went there.
Like a bantha.
But I
have the sandbags
so
of
funny.
Tatooine.
I remember though thinking when I was there, like that I wasn't drunk enough. Like I just remember, like because it's like you're not really seated to. It was like a concert. Like it was weird for this one, whatever I went to. But I remember thinking, like, man, I need to go back to the bar and get another drink. But the bar was so packed. But yeah, like you have like Obi-Wan in a short skirt fighting Vader with the crop top, and I mean it's funny, it's just there. You're not going there for any other reason, just to have a couple laughs with your friends and enjoy
it's
it.
more of a comedy show.
Yes,
like,
that's how I
took it.
It's more
comedic and parody than anything.
Yes,
because I think I've seen one of these. I wasn't there, but like I've seen it like
through the window when you were
walking by. Through the window. Well, there was a. I was on 4th Street in Long Beach. And they have a little burlesque bar that I can't remember the name of. But yeah, like I just saw it there, and it's like, oh, that's funny. But like, it's not like a sexualized thing.
Yeah, it's more like classy.
But it's yeah.
Sex doesn't belong in Star Wars.
Oh, well, Brandon. Brandon.
Wait, real quick.
Segue number 2.
Have any of you seen like a Cantina band perform live?
Only
No?
jizz.
Jizz Whalers.
Yeah.
I have at Disneyland.
Okay, no, like so back in Chicago, like 2000, I guess 14 or around 15 when Force Awakens was coming out. There was like a pop-up bar, Star Wars Cantina pop-up bar, and then like a band came in and had like Star Wars themed drinks and stuff like that. It was actually kind of cool to like see real people play the actual music, but like all dressed up as the band. It's actually kind of cool, but it's definitely like a one-off type of thing.
Was it the Figure and Dan band or was it the
the Figure and Dan band?
Okay,
yeah.
It wasn't Max Rebo.
No, it wasn't Max. No.
Okay.
Hit it, Max.
All right.
Still can't
What's the
believe they
next
named
thing,
that
Sean?
song Jedi Rocks.
Okay, you know what? I want to split our audience right now. I want to find out.
Or this group.
We might split the group. Are you a Jedi Rocks fan or the other one?
Lepty neck all the way,
You're
buddy.
Lofty Neck?
Jedi Rocks.
Jedi Rocks?
How's the other one go?
I don't remember. No one does.
Lepty neck.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Lepty neck. It's very
If-
much
Nah,
more.
Jedi Rock.
I wish. I
You
wish
want a
in-
song called Jedi Rocks?
No, I don't want a song called Jedi Rocks, but I prefer the song.
Yeah.
The production of the song, I prefer that. Now, I wish they had redone Lofty Neck instead of the new song.
You know what track that they never released ever on any of the soundtracks, and I really wanted it, was the song they're playing on the sail barge.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that one's a banger.
That's pretty good.
Is that not on any of the soundtracks?
No.
Copyright
nothing.
strike.
Yeah, it's so realistic. I just got
That was really good.
With
and now I want
R2
to. Now I just want to listen to that song. Yeah.
It actually sounds more like this.
That's what it was like if Smeagol was singing.
Stupid fat hobbitses.
Oh my gosh, we got.
Oh boy.
We are nerds.
We are nerds.
Nothing but filthy orcs.
We
That
got
doesn't
two
taste very good,
Smeagol's?
does
What
it,
the
precious?
You're a Smeagol Sandy, guys. Smeagol sandwich.
All right, now that
Wrong
we've got a
show.
fun story out of the way, let's get a depressing one out of the way.
boy. Well, it's not really.
Pour one out for Tim.
It's for good cause.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking
Oh.
about Rogue Squadron.
Wait, what?
Rogue
Yeah.
Squadron is now I don't have this written down. I didn't actually pull anything from the article,
Yeah.
but I believe Rogue Squadron is not canceled, but delayed inevitably.
Right.
Remember that cool video with Patty Jenkins and she was
Yeah.
like talking about her dad was a fighter pilot and she was next to the X-wing. Like, I want those simpler times. Like, and you think why would they cancel it with the success of Top Gun Maverick? You'd think all they need
Right.
to do is
I think that's
like,
probably
just
why
get
they
Joseph
canceled
Kosinski
Right.
and do a sick Rogue One mission movie.
Well, I think I assume that this has been in a weird spot for a while because they made that announcement around the time Wonder Woman 1984 came out, and 1984 wasn't really well received, which is funny because I prefer it to the first one personally.
It's
But
a
what do
bummer-
you wish
It's a bummer
for?
when like someone has something down the pipe and then like their new release, right? So
Right.
Colin Trevorrow, right? We're never gonna get that Duel of the Fates script, which is fantastic. I actually like both. I like Rise of Skywalker, but the Duel of the Fates script is great, right? And they're gonna we don't know really what happened, but like obviously didn't he do that Book of Eli or something that
Yeah,
tanked?
there was something
Book of
and then
Henry.
everybody
tanked.
gets spooked.
Yeah.
Book of Henry is
Book of Henry.
wild.
What's Book of
you've ever
Eli?
seen
Book
it.
of
Is that a
Eli,
book?
Book of
Denzel
Eli
Washington.
is Denzel Washington.
Denzel, yeah.
That's the
he's,
one I'm
he's
thinking
the
of.
blind guy walking through the wasteland.
Yeah,
with the
not
Bible.
that one. Book of Henry.
Yeah.
Book of Henry. And it like tanked. And then they're like, all right, we're going to just, forego all the plans we had with you. And I think the same thing. I hope that's
I
not
don't
what
know.
happened with Patty
If
Jenkins.
We don't know.
If
Well,
a Star
they
Wars
had
movie took as hard of a left turn as Book of Henry did halfway through, that would be amazing.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
seen it.
I'm not going to spoil anything.
No,
but
you know
you
what?
all
It's
need
okay.
to watch
You know what,
it.
guys? Spoiler
I kind of
warning.
want to watch it now.
Spoiler warning. 5.
No.
No.
No,
Okay,
because I want to
fine.
watch it.
All right.
What I
watch
was going to say was I thought a
I'm
while
reading
ago
the wiki tonight when I go to bed.
they had cited creative differences at first with Rogue Squadron. That's why it was delayed. It wasn't taken off the release schedule. Now they've taken it off the release schedule,
Yeah.
which is pretty much like this thing ain't going to happen because
Yeah.
they didn't resolve their
I
creative
heard.
differences.
I heard Thomas Harper got in her ear, and she wanted to make it all Y
Well,
wings.
Y-Wings, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do notice that like a lot of there's
should
a
have
lot of
gotten at least a
issues with
chuckle.
creative control and the directors and not. I think Disney. I think sometimes they are sold a bill of goods. We're like, okay, I got to get to all the things I want to do. Then they get there and then they realize how much red tape they have to do, how many things they have to do, and some of these creators are very particular
But you
in how
know
they want
what?
to make their movies.
As long as they announce a ton of crap at D23, it's all good because they can just cancel that later.
Yeah.
It'll make everybody happy for like a
They
week.
can. Might as
As
well.
long as they just
Okay.
give us something.
So let's talk about Star Wars announcements because we have 2 other movies that they've announced that actually 3 other movies that they've announced that we still don't really know the fate of those films. I don't know their names, but I know their initials are D&D, who did Game of Thrones. Originally, we were supposed to
right.
do
Benioff and
Benioff and
Weiss.
Yeah, there you go. They were supposed to do a trilogy,
right.
Everybody thought it was going to be like the Old Republic.
right? Which would be perfect.
Well,
for
people
them.
assume that because they did Game of Thrones, and it's just
there
like,
was
Yeah,
no,
but-
there was no
okay.
evidence whatsoever.
No,
Yeah.
sure, but I do think it fits for them. I would be happy with it.
Well, unless there was a book they were following.
I can tell you
Right.
from someone that we all know that is respected in the Star Wars community. He told me once that there was literally a Revan script written, a full script of Revan. He said he talked to the person who read it too and said it wasn't bad. And this is back in when he told me the same at that same conversation that there was an Obi-Wan script being in the works and before it became a
series.
trilogy and then a series. But it's just crazy to think that there's a Revan script floating around there.
And you can watch it on the KOTOR Movie Trilogy YouTube
It's not really
channel.
the same thing.
no, but it's we have something for that. So
Have you seen Kevin's movie?
I have. He doesn't believe me, but I've
You
seen
haven't.
them.
You did not know who Bobek was.
Okay.
There's no way.
I don't remember
boy.
the names of all the people in the show I just watched last night.
We got Bix. We got Tim, R.I.P. We've got.
Really? Are you a Tim supporter?
Too
He's
ambitious.
the
This guy is a
worst.
Tim
I feel like
Chill.
Yeah, he's.
Oh boy.
The second they threw that second M in there, I was in.
All right, so I had a segue, and then
wait.
we went far afield from the segue.
yeah.
Well, he
But-
said Tim. That's not me.
But speaking of films, Rian Johnson is
Yeah.
supposed to have a film trilogy for Star Wars. Now
About Broom Boy.
about Broom Boy.
It's a donut hole inside of a donut hole.
So this weekend, last I believe
Compels
it was
me.
on the Saturday that just passed, there was an event called the Podathon, which look, we've already done a different a-thon raising money for stuff like that. You don't need to copy our name. Come on. But Podathon, they raised $16,000 for Make-A-Witch.
Make a wish.
Make-A-Witch.
Make a wish.
Make a witch.
It is all.
Sponsored by Hogwarts. Wow, that was not planned.
This
believe
is
it or not.
so dumb.
That's what you call
They raised
synergy. I was gonna say synergy.
They raised $16,000 for Make a Wish. They had a bunch of different Star Wars podcasters on there. They didn't ask us, which I'm a little offended, especially
We're
considering.
scoundrels, dude.
Well, but especially considering one of the events was Star Wars trivia, hosted by Alex and Molly Damon with
Heard of them.
fellow Schmodown alums.
They explain Star Wars to me.
They do. I've learned way more from Alex and Molly than I have ever.
They should make a
watching
parody
Star Wars.
account called Star Wars Mansplained, and it's just Alex being a dick
Oh my
to
God.
Molly.
Wow.
Hey, dude, look! Let me tell you about the
Unfortunately-
Millennium Falcon.
Unfortunately, that channel might become even more successful than
Yeah,
their own.
yeah.
Like,
Sadly.
They do way better.
Before the woke mob ruins it. Am I
But
right?
so they had Marie Wilson, Evan Bushkar, and Zach Burkett, who we know from the Schmodown, also from Dragon Con, and they also had another gentleman on there who honestly I didn't write down his name, and I don't know it off the top of my head. But they did some really
kind of
good.
got away with not even
Bad
saying their
note,
name,
Dave.
and then no one would have ever known.
bad
I
Except
could
that
have,
Bad
but I
note.
want to give him some credit because I think he did
He who
really
shall
well.
not be named.
Yeah, he who shall not be named. You know what? Yeah, him and
Voldemort. You're right.
I have beef, and that's why I won't say his name on camera.
Yeah,
You know
online
who you
beef.
are.
They're feuding on Twitter.
Yeah,
and Twitch.
we've got a Twitter
in the
feud going.
comments on YouTube.
But that was really good. So if you know us from the Schmodown and you're a fan of Star Wars Schmodown, go watch that. But also,
yeah, good
I'm going to call him friend of the show. My friend Alden Diaz also did an interview with Rian Johnson, which you should go check out because there's some good tidbits in there. I didn't pull anything from it for us to talk about.
That's
I probably
good because we
have.
should
But
go
we should move
watch
on.
it and listen and,
Yeah.
and do that too.
Yes.
We should also move on because we have.
That's what Tim would have wanted us to do.
God, no. No.
You know,
I'm not going to let Tim come between us. Okay?
Tim is the new. Do you know there's a subreddit dedicated to Sully, the T-47 pilot,
Okay, did not know that.
from
Kenobi?
Kenobi. Like that,
Wow.
Which not Sully, it's the other one because
Yeah,
Sully
I was
was
like-
the girl.
Oh.
His buddy that
The guy that
or
The
her
the
bit
guy
it.
that died.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy that did it.
I don't remember his name. There's a subreddit dedicated.
he was a
to him.
hero.
Is Tim
Just
the
didn't
new?
know it.
Is Tim the new that guy?
No,
No,
Tim's
'cause-
worse.
No,
Okay.
I don't even know what Tim's deal is. First of all,
He runs a shop of some sort.
like does he think that
Is this? Are we starting
does
the
he-
Are we
indoor
starting the
coverage?
Yeah,
with
we're starting-
Tim?
Wait, I need to answer this
on
question
screen
now.
graphic.
No, for sure.
Welcome to the Andor Review section.
All about Tim.
Does he
Andor and
does he
Tim.
think Andor is trying to steal his girl? Is that
Tim,
why he
a
calls
Star
the
Wars
cops?
No,
Yes,
I
of
think
course.
he knows. I think he knows Andor's already been with his girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
like that.
There's that. There's that tension.
I don't know.
Tim,
She's
a
even
Star
like a
Wars
nice
story.
lady to
even
me. I don't think she would be
B2
non-loyal. to her partner.
B2 does bring up when Mavra's bringing up all the women Cassian's been with.
Yeah.
And B2's like Bix.
Yeah.
Bix.
Yeah. But also, what I think though also is that Tim knows that Cassian is involved in some shady stuff, but I think he's also in denial that Bix gets involved with that
Right.
stuff. So
Maybe even more so because
Yeah, yeah.
she's the one with the actual criminal contacts
Right,
and stuff.
right.
So is Tim a bootlicker?
Tim is a simp for
I mean,
Bix.
sort of, yeah. Well, okay.
But then why did he run towards the cops? He knew
This was-
he
this-
knew he was
he
going
should
to
have
get
known
shot.
better.
He
Yeah.
was
He called
was-
them.
He was blinded by his love for Bix and wanted to be the hero that Cassian looks like to Bix, and so he wanted to go save Bix, and
He didn't.
He died.
He forgot he wasn't bulletproof.
he got dead.
He got dead.
He got
Laser
dead.
proof.
All right. Well, I guess
Moment
this
of
is-
silence for Tim.
That's my random take on it.
moment of silence
Moment of silence for who?
for Tim.
Tim.
Good,
No,
we'll
screw
do an
Tim.
in memoriam for Ken. We'll do an in memoriam for Tim.
Oh
Two
wow!
M's.
Oh my god! It's like 3
Force
frames.
Center. Friend of the podcast.
All right.
Force Center.
Is he? He's your friend. I don't think Ken doesn't like me. He told
I
me.
think
He likes you.
I'll go say
He's
I'll say
hit or
acquaintance.
miss.
Wait, he doesn't like you?
He's an acquaintance.
Yeah, Ken doesn't like me. He doesn't know Brandon.
He's never heard.
Um,
He's never heard of Brandon.
He said he's 50-50 on Frank.
Yeah,
He's
it's
big
a lot of
big
people are.
Smets fan.
I've had Ken on my podcast that is no longer in
He doesn't remember.
syndication.
I was on your podcast.
You were.
I was.
The
That
only
was
one
fun.
who
Oh, so was
wasn't
I.
was Kevin.
oh,
that was fun.
I was on. Oh, we were on one. I was on your podcast. We had a
No.
huge feud, and we like hung up on each other.
That
That was
was-
the kayfabe storyline.
That was the other podcast.
the one they don't like to tell you about.
We don't talk about that podcast.
I was on the rundown though, wasn't I? I was on the rundown.
Yeah, you're on the rundown.
I was never on the rundown.
Yeah, you guys were never on the rundown.
I've never been on the rundown.
All right, here's your spoiler warning for the rest of Andor, minus Tim.
If you're a big Tim guy,
What
sorry.
did
Yeah,
you
sorry.
think this was gonna be? Did you see the thumbnail?
There's no Tim on
Yeah,
it.
look, we are never going
Tim's
to
gonna be
not
next week's thumbnail.
this on this show. We're never going to not spoil Star Wars. If you're watching this and something just came out, we're assuming you've already watched it. Now you're watching us.
Yeah.
And I apologize, but if you were emotionally invested in Tim,
No one was emotionally invested in Tim. Although I did like,
except
I did.
Bix, even though she knew that he
I'm
was.
emotionally invested in Bix. I was like, I feel bad for her that she feels bad, but I don't
Yeah.
feel bad that Tim.
sorry.
He got her calf though.
I'm not gonna feel
He did.
bad.
He's a good guy. He got her calf
if a
in the morning. He could have
snitch
ditched her.
gets his comeuppance.
You know when
He's a snitch.
Yeah, he snitched.
when he
Snitches
says
get
he's gonna
ditches.
put a pot on, and it's clearly coffee. Why
Yeah.
don't we just call it coffee?
His calf, dude.
All right, that's fair.
It's like
I mean,
in,
we have hot chocolate in Star Wars.
what was the in
Do we?
Yeah, it's in first shows up.
Battlestar
in,
Galactica? Instead of saying the F word, they would always say
They say
a word.
frack.
Frack, yeah,
Yeah,
frack
yeah.
and A.
Where's this hot chocolate?
So hot chocolate first shows up in Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn.
That's not canon.
Lando Calrissian is a hot chocolate connoisseur.
Hell yeah.
And then it's referenced again
I'm a
in
hot chocolate
in
connoisseur.
canon. It's referenced in Shadow of the Sith, which is funny because it's kind of Shadow of the Sith kind of functions as Shadow of the Sith feels the most. We're not doing a Shadow of the Sith review. Sorry, guys.
no, but we should
love
that.
But we should because that book is fantastic.
So good.
Halfway through it.
Shadow of the Sith really feels like Heir to the Empire
Yeah.
in a good way.
It also
it
feels like
it's like the prequel to the sequel trilogy, right? It isn't like a
Sure.
bridge.
well, it's in
from, like, the-
between.
Well, it's a
it's in between, but I'm saying they
Yeah.
really make it try to bridge you, but it does. If you do read it, it does spoil a lot of Rey's story, right? So like,
Yes.
you wouldn't want to read it after watching Return of the Jedi
No.
if you've never seen the sequels. I guess.
I mean, maybe you could because they never.
might be interesting.
Oh no, I guess yeah. I guess you do know who.
Talk about his parents and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
If
yeah.
the Sith are already on the dark side, how much darker is their shadow?
Very, very dark. Well, it deals with this is a topic for another day,
This-
Brandon.
just,
all right.
just
I
okay.
can't wait till the three of us are sick and it's just Brandon only hosting a show.
And he only knows how to talk in puns and
Guys, is it just me or am I the only one concerned about the K2SO redesign? Why did they make him stumpy and red in this? I don't
Yeah,
get it.
I think Tony Gilroy doesn't care about canon.
Continuity,
Tony
schmontinuity.
Gilroy doesn't even like Star Wars. All right, do we have a format for reviews? How do we want to do this?
I don't know.
Basically, I liked it. That's it. That's
I
my-
liked it. There's your review.
No. I think maybe let's just talk about the first episode, how the way
Sure.
it just sets up.
Take it away, Frank.
Yeah, so like it starts off, and we were talking about this before
Let's
the
talk
show.
about the director. Too.
The what?
The director.
Toby Haynes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where do I know him from?
You know him from Doctor Who.
Doctor Who
From
makes-
Sherlock?
Yeah.
Which Doctor Who episode?
Oh, so he's
I don't know
British.
what-
They did a lot of the Matt Smith episodes, I believe.
Okay, I like those.
And
Yeah.
Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch and
I like that show.
But when
Martin
it starts
Freeman.
out, it starts out like a show we've never seen Star Wars, or the vibe at least, very Blade Runner-y, right? Like that whole introductory planet just felt Blade Runner-y, which was really cool, and really I think set the tone for what this show was going to be, or is going to be, in terms of the aesthetic, the tone, the intensity. I mean, actually, all three episodes I just felt were really, really intense, especially when you got scenes with Andor and Bix, I mean, like the intensity was just like, and the anxiety was just ramped up, and I was just like on the edge of my seat every time those two had a scene together. But that first episode, I mean, really all three it's a prelude within itself for Cassian as well as the entire series. I guess.
Yeah. The first planet we see is Morlana 1, and
A tidbit about that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the first time you ever see the words BBY on screen.
Yes,
So, yeah,
that's
I
right.
wanted to talk
the
about that.
BBY5.
They
Ooh,
really
finally
they-
give that credit. That they
Well,
do in the books and cartoons.
that's actually an interesting note to talk about, because
BBY,
well, so
5 BBY.
we see Morlana 1, Preox Morlana corporate sector,
Yeah.
which I believe it's also the first time we've got a corporate sector on screen,
Which interesting.
are a big thing in Star Wars Legends. They've touched on it a little bit in canon.
KOTOR as well. Circa
Yeah.
Corporation was
Circa.
huge. Remember Circa Corporation?
Yeah.
On Kashyyyk. And
We don't.
Yes.
I don't think
I
we've
That's
love
done
right.
like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
vibe, and even the colors. Like, I got total Circa
blue and
for
orange.
fans.
You're
of
not talking
KOTOR.
about Manon, right?
Manon. They're there too. Circa is.
Circa's a big deal in the KOTOR.
Yeah.
Well, Circa's a big deal in all of Star Wars Legends. They show up in.
Were they first introduced in KOTOR though? Right.
They're I believe.
Or the comics.
I believe they predate KOTOR.
Interesting. That's
Um,
awesome.
But I could be mistaken. Their role in KOTOR is different than in the rest of the timeline.
But it's very cool, that whole corporate side of like this,
Yeah.
these are dicks, basically.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
organizations and,
Well,
and
it's-
this thing, the same thing with the
The corporate sectors are very cyberpunk.
Yes, I
more
was
than
about to say
anything.
cyberpunk.
It's very Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And even like the shot where Cassian's running on that bridge with the rain and the lights and the music. Honestly, you can throw Ryan Littlegoose or Harrison Ford in there, and all of a sudden you have a shot from Blade Runner.
And I will also say the opening cinematography, the way it was shot, especially when Cassian's in that bar and he turned and there's a shot of him and he's like on the right third of the screen, but he's in front of like the hallway and it's
Yeah.
framed perfectly
And-
and the light. And I'm like, dude, they just know exactly what they're going
Is
for.
the
what they wanna
cinematographer the
do.
same one from Rogue One? Because I do know
I don't know.
I don't know.
in it has been in interviews that the cinematographer from Rogue One, the Ring of Kafrine,
Yeah.
was totally modeled after Blade Runner, like on purpose. Like,
Like
that was an
the,
homage.
like,
So I
LA.
wonder if that carried over. They're like, let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, I mean it's honestly that's an aesthetic that I love in Star Wars. I wanted
Yeah.
to explore because it reminds me of, again, bringing it back to KOTOR. Reminds me of Nar Shaddaa. It reminds me
Nar
of
Shaddaa, total Nar Shaddaa
like,
vibes.
And what's funny is when Frank and I were working on the thumbnail for the podcast.
Yeah.
my original thumbnail was the cityscape.
Yeah, it was
of Nar
Yeah,
Shaddaa.
Nar Shaddaa, yeah. The cityscape, yeah.
With the logo
Nar
on it.
Shaddaa wasn't that was even in the one of the Dark Forces too.
Yeah, it's in one of the Dark Forces Rise. Dark Forces.
Speaking of Dark Forces,
Ooh.
his pistol. So
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Cassian
dude.
Andor was rumored when Rogue One came out that he was modeled after Kyle Katarn, very similar in character. And they gave him his Bylar pistol, Kyle Katarn's Bylar pistol. I think I'm saying that right, Bylar pistol. Star Wars mansplain can correct me later, or Star Wars explain. But no, the Bylar pistol, and they used the same sound effect that is used in the Dark Forces game. So especially if you're a fan of Dark Forces, which I instantly like recognized it, I was like, oh my god! And I did some research, and yeah, sure enough, they gave him the same blaster that Kyle Katarn had in the Dark Forces.
It also
trilogy.
does look like Rick Deckard's blaster,
Yeah, a little
gun, and especially when you see that one shot where he points the gun at.
Are you sure you weren't accidentally watching Blade Runner?
I might have.
Were there
Dude,
replicas in it? Or?
I just really love Blade Runner because when I saw that gun close up and it did that little
Yeah, I
swivel
love
in the
that thing.
barrel, I
So
was like,
cool.
"Damn, dude, I want
Yeah,
that."
that's yeah.
So dope.
Yeah.
I it's just showing me his pistol. I tried to look it up. It's just showing me the pistol from whatever. Yeah, I loved that whole look, that whole planet. I like that. Okay, do we want to get into heavy themes and talk about all that?
I mean, what do you got?
Okay,
Talk
well,
about what's in your heart. Sean.
there's so Star Wars is political, right? And if you have a problem with that, I'm sorry, you don't actually like Star Wars, right? Star Wars is at its core political. Lucas had a very
Political kid show. You're right.
I mean, it is.
I mean, yeah,
it is.
it's a way to
right?
It's a vehicle for that. Yeah.
Introducing politics and totalitarianism to kids. No,
That sounds like the worst children's book ever.
totalitarianism and you. Tigger's totalitarianism.
Oh wow, that's yeah.
All right. So
Back on track.
This show.
Totalitarianism. Is that
thi-
how he would say it?
I always wanted to know, and now I
well,
know.
I think they'd have Hondo do it, right? 'Cause
Oh
that's,
my God, Hondo!
You know,
Yeah.
that's also Tigger. Same voice actor.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Damn, that makes
What's
sense.
his name?
That makes sense.
Jim Cummings?
Jim Cummings.
Not the other Jim Cummings from Halloween Kills. The other Jim.
No,
All
the
right,
other.
enough of the Halloween
Okay,
talk,
enough
right?
of the yeah. All right, so what was I even fucking saying?
It's Nick Castle's birthday when we're filming
Right.
this.
So this show does episode 1. We're immediately introduced to the theme of the brutality of law enforcement
Yeah.
and capitalist oversight. And I want to say the show is not heavy-handed with it, but I think it's the best depiction of it. And like that sort of stop and search mentality of when he's
Right.
walking through that corridor and the two guys stop him, you know, and just
They were just like, "Hey, we were horny. What?
Yeah.
Dude, why?
Right.
And now we're gonna come and get you because we have this power.
Right, because
You
we
know?
can.
Yeah, 'cause we
And-
can.
And I, you know, we're not the guys. If you want to dwell on this, there's a lot of great other people you can listen to talk about the themes and the politics.
I'm
of it.
sure Ken Knapsucker, Joseph Scrimshaw probably speak about it a little more
Oh yeah,
eloquently.
yeah. If Force Center or First Cut, I'm sure we'll be talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Ace Cabrera, I'm sure we'll have a lot to say about all this, and he would probably speak on it a lot more eloquently than we will. Or Octo Radio, I'd go there too.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that, like, hey, I enjoyed those themes, and I enjoyed how well they were shown.
Because you don't even realize, you really
No.
don't realize it,
No.
and that's which to your point, it's not heavy-handed about it. It's just
No, and that's with, you know, we joked about the Tim scenes and why did he run forward, right?
yeah.
But that scene I thought was like kind of the cherry on the top of this very negative theme, you know, is he's running forward and they react.
Yeah, and
You
then
know.
and then what happens to the guy who shot him? Hey, go back to the ship.
Yeah, go back to the
Go back to the
Well,
ship.
yeah.
I was
And
like,
he's the one
damn.
that called them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's the one that called
Yeah.
them.
It's like the guy that calls 911 getting
Exactly.
shot.
right.
Yeah,
So-
which happens in our world.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, I'm not the shooter. That guy is.
Yeah.
But then he's like, wait, what? And then
Yeah.
then yeah, it's a bad story. But yeah, that is
Well,
definitely
it's a good story to show on
Yes, yes,
screen,
yes,
but
yeah.
yeah, it's a
for in real life. It's not great, obviously.
And it's I don't mean to cut you off,
No, go
Frank,
ahead.
but it's like, you know, I like they think that they're the good guys. You know,
Yes.
these
Yeah.
like security
well, we see
officers.
that really heavy with
you know.
Deputy Inspector Kane, Karn, Deputy Inspector Karn. You know, he sees himself as this white knight, zealous.
Best villains always think that they're
Yeah,
He
doing
is
the right thing.
He is so good.
he's a cowboy or not a cowboy. He's a Boy Scout. He's like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ultimate Boy Scout.
the
That's
fine
just-
tailored suit.
Yeah, the tailored suit.
Was
and
it-
he's, I got to bring this to your attention, sir. These two people, you know, there's murder. I was like,
So Frank, you had called him and the Corsac security guy.
yeah, I call them Hot Fuzz.
Hot-
They're Hot Fuzz. They're Hot Fuzz to me. Just in Star Wars universe version of Hot Fuzz. That's
Wait,
what it
does
looks like.
ACAB apply to Hot Fuzz as well? 'Cause-
Yeah.
Right- yeah, right?
Yes, it does.
That's heartbreaking.
Okay. Yeah. So, and he's looking for his sister, and we don't know. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about the show going into it, so I was like, oh, what happened to his sister? Like, what? You know. I knew
Isildur
that.
has a sister now.
Wait. So like this, I feel like also. So when I heard about so he talks about wanting to find his sister. Immediately I thought of Saw Gerrera type of situation where maybe something has happened to his sister. And now has this mentality of stop at nothing
Right.
to do what needs to be done to bring justice or to find his sister. And then you know, if you've seen the trailers, you know Saw Gerrera shows up, but you also know that I don't think they would ever meet because he doesn't meet Saw till Rogue One. But anyways,
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I didn't
yeah,
think
but
about that.
like I feel like there's a similar parallel perhaps between Cassian and his sister, where Saw and his sister. So there's
We
kind of
find
that
out-
motif of
we do find out
the
the-
sibling type
Yeah.
of connection that's again being portrayed here with Cassian and his sister.
we do find out that story is very different, though.
Oh
If
yeah,
I-
yeah,
if I,
yeah,
if
yeah.
I learned anything from Star Wars, Bix is Cassian's sister.
Bix. Andor. Honestly, though, no, for real though, I was like, is Bix someone from
I
the
thought so.
planet for
Well,
a second?
okay, so then
because when
let's-
you're going back and forth with
yeah.
flashbacks, I was like, could that be her? Like the little girl? I was like, but as you progress, you find out.
So Cassian kills one of the two. Well, he kills both of them.
Yeah.
Kills both of the Corsac officers, and then we go to Ferrix, Cassian's home, apparently his new home, and such a switch up in
Location, environment,
location and tone and environment,
status, class.
If you can't find it here, it's not worth finding.
That was a good line.
Yeah, it's a great line.
That was a great line. And we see Wally.
Wally.
Like, tell me that scene wasn't Wally. BMO running through the scrapyards.
That's pretty good.
Did you notice in the opening credits too that where they show all the masks and the droids?
Oh
They
yeah,
had-
he was the
they
last
did-
one. Yeah,
Was
the
he
la-
on there?
Yeah,
I didn't
he was on
notice.
there. Yeah.
I knew that they would Disneyfy Star Wars.
Yeah. Here we go, Disney.
You got
Putting Wally in
more
Star Wars.
cute droids to sell that I will buy.
Trying to sell
I
toys.
will buy.
And they'll be on this table.
Yeah, it will be.
Well, I want a BMO trash can.
Is that how little you think of him?
No. That's how much I want to interact with him in my daily life. I want something that I use every day.
And it will cost more battery power to make him lie, which I thought was a cool.
That's
little-
funny. Yeah,
that
it
was
a great line.
So what Kevin, you're the one that probably knows the most about this stuff from KOTOR. The one thing I don't like about mic stands is I can't see Kevin through the mic stand.
Kevin, you
Probably
lie a
bonus
lot.
for everyone.
Kevin, you're a big liar. Kevin, you have problems with battery life. No. So talking about classes of droid, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Reminded me of TC.
14.
No, not TC.
no,
sorry.
the
T4, T3M4.
yeah,
from
my
KOTOR.
favorite model of droid, by the way.
Yeah.
That old astromech.
Yeah.
So
T3, we'd call him in KOTOR.
is he's a data droid of some sort, obviously, because his whole thing is every time Cassian or Mavra, am I saying
Mavra, I think.
Mavra?
Mavra Andor, which we can get into that later too. Andor, it's their last name.
every time Cassian and Mavra interact with I want to call him BMO. That's a B2.
Yeah, B2 they call him. I think. yeah,
Well, they just call him B. But I'm gonna say B2 because I feel like I'm missing something.
B2 3PO.
Every time they interact with B2, it's something data related or information related or message related.
Yeah,
right.
That's interesting. you
He
said
doesn't seem to serve any other function. We do see him later on in episode 2 pulling that little cart, or episode 3 pulling that cart.
Yeah.
But we don't see him do anything else of use.
Do we see him in the flashbacks when they first on Canary too? I forget.
he's
Yeah,
on Canary.
That's cool. That's
and
great.
he's fully functional and pulling that sled. So it shows that, hey, this is the family droid.
He
Yeah,
looks
I love
fairly brand new. A little
Yeah.
more new.
that. I like that they do that.
Yeah, and because she asks him, hey, how much is a fuel cell worth? And he says, and his response isn't like slow or calculating or stuttering. He just says, are you asking about sale
Yeah.
price or black market?
Basically, they're Google. Like they're Google.
Right.
Kinda.
They're Siri.
Right.
Hey Siri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, B2 emo.
whatever. Yeah. He doesn't see, and he does kind of seem a little emo in that first introduction of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say that. I can say
You can say
He's
it.
like, Cassian, no, stay with me, please.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
He says-
Yeah.
And then he shrinks down.
He says-
I love his articulation.
Yeah, with his
voice is that?
physicality.
Do we
that
have
he
a?
used.
We do have a voice actor.
He
for
goes,
him.
Cassian, where are
It
you?
is, Dave Chapman.
Dave Chapman.
Dave Chapman. Well done.
Who
Well done.
Is
Handsome fella.
best known for
Jurassic World
BB-8.
Dominion.
Yeah, he
Wait till
was.
you see,
He was
his-
a additional
he's
crew.
he's a sound engineer. He's a sound guy.
Oh well.
Right? Because he probably does sound work fully and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Nice.
Because he's credited for
special effects on Prometheus.
the sequel trilogy. He's credited for BB-8.
Ah, okay.
So he's probably a
Gotcha,
Foley guy or something like that.
Oh, cool.
Because I
Then-
had said that the voice kind of resembles a little bit of Dio from Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, very much so.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Even though that was JJ. but, like,
Thank you.
it's like,
Actually, he was a puppeteer on Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But yeah, and he's done some voice on
That
some
sounded sarcastic, but I meant it.
You meant it sarcastically, or you?
stuff. But
I
I
meant
definitely
it
recognize the
genuine.
name, but I can't put any source to that. So
Well, another great droid. So
yeah,
damn it.
fucking
buy it.
I never
buy it.
thought we would get so many great droids. I'm not a big
If there's one thing Disney can do,
right.
If we were to rank our droids now, where do you still have R2 as
Chop.
number one?
No, Chopper.
Chop.
Yeah.
Chop's the best man, and I love R2, but Chop, man.
Although I'm a big fan of, I'm sure none of you guys have seen it, but Star Wars Resistance.
Oh yeah,
I'm a big fan of Bucket.
I remember Bucket, kind of.
I haven't
So
watched
he's-
Resistance since it
So
aired.
Bucket
that
is
animation style.
Bucket is an astromech that has all of his shell stripped off. So he's just the wireframe
Oh, cool.
yeah,
and all the inner mechanicals, and on his little sensor.
So he's naked, you pervert.
Well, on his little sensor module, his eyes, he has a bucket. He has a pilot's helmet.
Oh.
So
I like
just-
R4. R4?
Yeah, R4 is good.
Yeah, R4 is not
or
bad.
R5 from A New Hope and Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I just wonder like where people's like. So did BB-8 ever usurp
Hold on.
R2D2 in everybody's list, or was R2 always firmly in number one until
You know,
Chopper?
there is something great about BB-8 where he's got a certain energy that I personally don't think R2 maintains in the same way. But I'm missing my favorite droid. I forgot about him. BD1
Oh.
Oh, sure.
from Star Wars
Fallen Order.
Oh well,
Yeah,
if we're going to the games, then we got to talk about HK-47,
Sure.
who is.
No, but okay, but I
when
feel like
the K2SO
I
was
feel like we're
first
not-
rumored.
I feel like we're not talking about humanoid.
K2SO is the only one that's died
Oh,
a hero's
okay.
death, and
Right.
he is living
Like, if we're-
in glory in Valhalla.
Because if we're just talking about like the droid,
Yeah, the
you know,
droid. You're
funny
right.
looking robots,
Not protocol droids and stuff.
yeah, not protocol. But yeah, HK. I mean, HK is the standard for.
When they first released character bios of Rogue One, this is back when I was still doing the KOTOR movies, the movies, not the series and shows. And they were like, oh, they're going to have this droid, and he's going to be like this psychopath that's like, oh, I'd much rather go in there and destroy it. Like, HK would have these one-liners where he'd be like, what would you like to do, Master? I'd much rather go into the building and slaughter all of its inhabitants.
Yeah.
Like, he'd always say these funny one-liners.
Query.
Yeah.
I would rather go in.
Yeah.
Query.
Question.
Master.
Yeah. And I
Master.
thought
May
they
I
were
go
gonna
in
do
and
that with
slaughter the
K2SO.
meatbags?
Yeah, that was
So
great.
they didn't. But I feel like I read a rumor somewhere that HK is going to be popping up sooner or later.
I'd be okay. As long as
An
they
HK
keep,
model.
As long as they stick with him starting all his sentences
Yeah.
with
Statement.
query, statement,
Yep.
Yeah,
exclamation.
Agitated statement. I'd much rather this end in bloodshed, Master, but it's your call.
Yeah. As long as they keep that, I'm fine with it.
Some love for HK.
Well, I want to go back and look. Mr. Bones from Star Wars Aftermath had a bunch of different droid programming, including like he was a B1 battle droid with Dancer protocol. He had fighting techniques downloaded from Grievous's droid body.
Oh, that's cool.
He had IG-100 Magna Guard
Oh, wow.
information, and I believe they mentioned a droid assassin, but I don't remember if they're
Give him a
referring
little HK.
if they're referring to HK or IG-88 or
Yeah.
IG-11. But
I wonder if we'll see any security droids in this show, and
Oh.
if they'll have Alan Tudyk in it, but like just not as K2SO,
Well,
but like as a
season-
regular.
well, season 2 for sure. I'm pretty sure we know
Okay.
K2 will be in it, and we're not going to get how he meets K2 because we already have that in one of the books. So
Maybe they'd show it.
they might. Clone Wars season 7 did kind of go back and rehash some of the stuff with Ahsoka that we
Yeah.
got from the Ahsoka novel. So they
Yeah,
may.
sure.
And didn't they like kind of like retcon Kanan's Order 66 moment?
They retconned.
in
Well, they
Bad
they
Batch?
retconned Kanan's Order 66 moment, and they also retconned Ahsoka's gravesite. So Ahsoka's gravesite was originally on Mandalore in the Ahsoka novel, which also
And-
we're gonna get with Force Tales from the Jedi.
Yeah, Tales from the Jedi is also going to rehash.
gonna
stuff from the
rehash
book
stuff from that
as
book
well,
too.
right?
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So, they're not. They've shown they're not afraid to for
Books and comics, good luck.
yeah.
Can we talk about how this show just shit dropped? They use the word shit like out of
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
And I was like, what?
You know what's
Like, this-
funny?
What?
I
So-
didn't even.
Going
It
there?
didn't even.
It didn't even register for me.
register
It
That's
wasn't
because I
until
was so
people
into it,
point
yeah.
out. I was like, I mean, that's the other, like getting back to Andor. That is
Yeah.
the other thing about this show is I was completely enthralled. Like I don't care that it was like 32 minutes, 35, 37 minutes, whatever. They were just zipping by, and I was completely sucked in to what each episode was telling and which episode was doing for the characters. And I can't say a lot of shows grip me that way. I think only one right now is House of the Dragon. Like, keeps me like that, so engaged throughout the entire runtime. Even though obviously Andor has shorter episodes than that show, I'm still just like sucked in.
I don't mind a shorter episode.
I don't either. I don't either.
What I do want to talk about is something Kevin brought up was the what did you call it? The way you end an episode?
Oh, act outs or show outs.
Show outs. I don't like their use of show outs in this.
I do.
Well, I think I think it goes to. I think that's probably why they did the first 3 episodes.
Right.
Way they are. I don't know if it's just this director. They're doing episode packs of 3.
Arcs of 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of just out of nowhere. It's the end, and I think maybe it was always in the cards. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna have to do all of these episodes together, just because of the way some of these are ending." Show outs or act outs, as you will, in the editing world. You know, a show like Breaking Bad was excellent at like every episode. It would be 3 a.m, and you'd finish watching it, and you'd be like, "I gotta watch the next one," especially if you're catching up binging or whatnot.
I'll just say real quick. That's how I felt with the endings of episode 1 and episode 2. I'm like, I didn't
feel that with episode
Really?
1 on
Really?
this
Yeah,
one.
they're not as strong as far as.
But episode 2,
leaving you on a cliffhanger.
episode 2, it did feel like that, and so did episode 3. I thought
Episode 3 actually did a very nice job of rounding out the prelude for me.
But then it's like, hey, I want to know where.
But I also I'm also.
But it's great that they're and not to discount anything. I know that episode 4 we're gonna finally get into like Coruscant and like Mon Mothma, and I think if we were each week like for 3 weeks, and we're like, man, we haven't seen anyone else. I think maybe that I could even see execs saying like, hey, I'm concerned that people are gonna start getting like antsy. Like let's. I know it sucks. You're getting a third of the series, I think, or a third or a big chunk in the first week, but at the same time.
A quarter.
It's fast forwarding us into now we know the backstory and everything of it's set the table, and so now you can jump around the galaxy, and I think that'll make it a lot more fun next week. You know, what I mean?
agree. Yeah.
It will be interesting to see how next week's episode ends.
What they do.
Yeah,
because
similar
we don't have
feeling,
one immediately.
Like was it always planned that it was gonna
Right,
be a
that's
3
that
episode
is.
premiere?
Yeah,
I almost wish they would just release 3 episodes, 3 episodes, 3 episodes.
Be done in them.
Well, then don't even call them 3 episodes. Just
mini,
Sure,
they're
well,
like
but
movies
yeah,
of the week.
absolutely.
Yeah,
like
basically.
I feel like these 3 episodes feel like one complete story.
Well,
in the
we'll see
best
how.
way possible.
We'll see what happens next.
I mean, but like Clone Wars did that. They would have 4 episode arcs.
Yeah.
that
Right.
would all run together.
Right.
And then they move on to
Darkness
kind
on
of another.
Umbara, the greatest
Yeah,
art
and then they
of
run
all
on to
time.
another thing, which maybe that's what this show is doing, but in 3 episodes.
Kevin, I agree.
Yeah, I love that. It
Absolutely.
could have been. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so what happens on Ferrix? We start meeting Cassian's friends. We see all of his.
I don't. Would you call them friends besides Bix?
No. Well,
what
yeah,
is-
I would
wait.
call the guy. Whose name?
Meet
Mosa?
Fixer and Cammy.
Wait,
and
no, there's-
No,
on
wait,
Tashi
that's,
Station.
Wait,
no, that's the Mandalorian.
Wait, no, because
Yeah, that's right.
forget his like adoptive mom, played by Fiona
Oh,
Shaw
Marva?
from Harry Potter. Marva.
Petunia. There's
On Petunia.
Fiona Shaw.
Yeah, Fiona Shaw.
She mentions because like he talks about, oh, I've told friends that I'm from, I already forget the name of the home planet. Kenari. He's like, I've told friends I'm from Kenari, and he like names like people, and she says that's not friends, those are family. So it's like Bix and like somebody else I think he names. So there's definitely like another person in there that he's very close with that we can trust, and I think it might be that other friend.
It might have been the guys we
Yeah.
see in episode 3.
Yeah.
I love that, by the
there's
way,
like
in
a- there's like a
Kenari,
few
they didn't do
people,
any.
yeah.
They didn't do any subtitles when the kids were talking.
Yeah, that's
Brasso.
I love those
Brasso.
choices when they do
Yeah,
that.
Is a
so
good character. I
Brasso
think.
was Brasso
Brasso,
played
that's
by
his-
yeah.
Joplin Sibthane.
He was cool.
Which I believe is a Gaelic last name. He was I really liked him. He's from Water of Mars, Doctor Who. So
Oh, really?
yeah, he's in Water of Mars.
That's awesome. I like Water Mars. That's
yeah.
pretty good.
But Clem Andor and Marva.
Marva.
Marva Andor.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
She's great.
Yeah.
Like just the right amount of like motherly love mixed with kind of this sardonic attitude. I just
A little like I would say also kind of some Sarah Connor in terms of Cassian. You're like
little bit, yeah.
you know like you're you have to be careful, like that
Yeah,
type
good
of
call.
Sarah Connor. You know,
Great call.
Yeah, great. Yeah, very good call.
You see where he gets his toughness from too.
Yeah.
Now in Rogue One, he says, "I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old." Does he talk about how his parents were separatists? Right? Do we ever hear about that?
in a book.
I would have to go
Or
back
is that
and
in
look.
a book? Like, because
I
I'm
think-
wondering if they're gonna retcon that, or if we do find out
Okay.
later. Like, what's the timeline?
So let's get to that in a minute because I have an issue that I raised to you guys before the show about that, about the insignia.
yeah.
But let's talk about Kandari. What's the planet called?
Canary.
Canary. Yeah.
Canary. Yeah, super interesting that we see.
His
no,
home world. Yeah.
No subtitles whatsoever.
Lord of the Flies.
Very Lord of the Flies. Yes, Kevin.
Very Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
And I was trying to figure out like, okay, so what's going on here? Because I was looking at I was trying to look at the clothing. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, well they didn't make the clothing. It's not Ewok, aprons.
But these are my friends. Sorry.
They're not wearing like Ewok style aprons or like Wookiee
Right.
style, like whatever. They're wearing, or even Gungan, like Jar Jar wears, less sophisticated clothing, and he lives
It's
in a
manufactured
fucking bubble.
clothes, you
Yeah,
know.
they're wearing manufactured clothes that have been cut up and stripped. So I'm like, okay, then where are the adults, right?
Yeah.
They're all dead at the bottom of a
Well,
collapsed
He
mine.
who
That's
walks
my theory.
behind the rose.
So then,
It's a Children of the Corn reference.
Jesus,
It's not October yet.
yeah,
Brandon.
we're not,
saying.
we're not. This
I'm
is not
just
a,
saying.
This is not a Children of the Corn.
You ever seen
Halloween.
Cassian and that Isaac freak in the same room together?
Isaac
No, I
Freak.
haven't. So we get that reveal that it's an Imperial or a someone mining planet. We don't actually know who was in control of the mining planet, if it was the Republic or the
Right.
Confederacy or one of the,
Another
one of the.
Is that during
corporation.
the Clone Wars at that age? Like that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to figure. My
Yeah,
piece together.
yeah. So
Gotta be.
6 years old. When he was 6 years old, yes, would have been during the Clone Wars.
Or like a mining guild. I mean,
Yeah, so it
That's
could
what
have
I
been-
always geek out about. I'm like,
Well,
it's somewhere
or-
out there,
or
Anakin
the other
and
thing-
Obi-Wan are fighting.
The other
together.
possibility is that
Yeah.
could be before the Clone Wars.
that site was made before.
There was a
Clone-
Republic name drop.
Well, okay. So let's just jump into. Let's just knock out the.
Let's just dive into it.
What's the? Okay,
And
give me the
your
planet
deep
name
dive,
again.
Your
'cause I
Scoundrels
already
Inc.
forgot.
Deep dive.
Canary. Canary.
Canary.
Canary.
If I
Canary.
say Canary one more time, I'm gonna Canary all over your face.
Okay.
Canary. This is just for Frank.
I don't have earphones. I don't know what they're saying.
Canary.
All right.
Little.
All right. Okay. All right.
Canary Gold from Entourage.
Is that a thing?
Ari Gold. Never
I
mind.
don't know. I
Oh,
never watched
Come
Entourage.
on.
Yeah. Well. yeah. I didn't
Okay.
watch Entourage.
So we get the that big strip mine, right? They
Right.
come out of that jungle clearing. We get that great establishing shot of the strip mine.
But if you see little Cassian's not looking at it like grandeur, he's looking at it
He's
sad.
never seen. Well, and he's
Doesn't look like
looking
yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
He's looking at it as if he had never seen it. Because we got a really interesting thing there where when they're getting ready to go out, so we see the ship coming down, and all the kids are like excited. One of the kids goes to wave them, and the other kid pulls them back, like, "What the hell are you doing?"
They're not here to save us. That's what that kid
Right,
was
yeah,
like.
yeah.
Oh, we're here
Smart.
to be saved. No.
No. So when Cassian goes to put on the war paint,
Yeah.
one of the other kids is like, no. This isn't for you.
Yeah.
And we see Cassian kind of do the same thing with his younger sister.
Yeah.
So, which establishes that I think Cassian is one of the younger of the bunch, like his little sister. So I don't think he's ever been out of that little enclave
I don't think so either.
to see the strip mines, right?
Right.
I think that was new to him.
But do you think that this is a group of kids that were orphaned instantly from some huge disaster?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think that was 100% what they were going for.
Wow.
Because they even mentioned later in the episode when Corsac is trying to figure out, well, like they're asking what's Canary,
Canary, yeah.
and one of them says it's registered in the Imperial databanks as being decimated by a mining accident.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right,
And that's
They-
not Vader making that story up in Rogue
No,
One.
which like in well,
mining accident.
yeah, because in A New Dawn, I believe the book's called, the first canon novel for the new canon, we do see a planet go through a mining accident because the Empire is over harvesting it.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Just
Superman,
like
the movie.
Praxis in Star Trek.
It's just like Praxis,
or
in
just
Star
like
Trek.
Krypton and Superman.
Or Krypton and Superman.
Stop overmining things.
And put up guardrails, damn it. I'm looking at you, dwarves.
Yeah. Why does Cassian do?
All right. Okay. All right.
And welcome to our special 4-hour episode of Scoundrels Inc.
On this episode, we'll be talking about Rings of Power.
Mine's never seen it. He's always been sheltered.
The dwarves delve too deep.
Okay.
But he's not looking at it like he's stoked to see it. He has that
No.
look too.
He's
where
like, oh, this
"Damn,
is
man,
probably
this
where
my
my
parents
parents
died."
Right.
Yeah.
But I
That's where
definitely
everyone
think
died.
I definitely to me was a look of shock because he's never been out with that
Yeah.
little party there. The rest of them knew what they were doing, and he was like, "Where do I go?"
Yeah.
Okay, so we see the lead girl. Well, first off, I want to respect. Although we don't get subtitles, the end stinger of episode 1 is him leaving in the flashback. The
Okay, to go into
the show out of episode 1 is him leaving with that party.
Yeah.
And his sister following after him, and he says something.
Oh, that's right.
He says something to her, and that's the end.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to say I appreciate that, like, you can definitely tell that his last line is, "Don't worry, I'll be back."
Something like, "I love you, stay here,
Yeah.
I'll be back."
Right.
Like something, that's
I just
heartbreaking.
I just
basically.
appreciate that,
Yeah.
like, we, despite not being able to hear the words, we know what
Understand
he's
the
saying.
words,
We
yeah,
know
yeah.
what he's
Are
saying.
we going to see? Is he going to catch up with his sister eventually? And is his sister part of the Imperials?
Oh man, see that.
Now that's interesting.
that could be it.
That's
Could
interesting.
you imagine they finally run into each other and she's totally indoctrinated into the Imperial War
Academy,
Machine?
yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, because
Ooh,
they
that's
do
some-
say
that's some
that everyone was
vibe.
killed, right, on the planet because of the mining accident.
Yeah,
but then like the Empire or whoever else comes in.
But I think they're only worried about. I think they're only worried about the adults. I don't
Sure.
think anyone realizes.
Well, I mean,
there's
also,
a,
those kids could also be put into a slave trade.
sure.
slavery is a
we
thing.
don't. We can't use. We can't. use
I'm a
those.
parent here. You're making me nervous.
Hey guys, we can't use those words on YouTube. We'll get demonetized.
What?
Legitimately, we can't say that on YouTube.
What word?
The S word.
It's
All right,
okay.
here,
They're
slap it
treated.
here
Forced.
so you can-
we can
Forced
say
labor?
forced labor, or
Okay.
we can say yeah. We
I, for
can't-
one, think
we
that
can't.
Watto is a very responsible forced labor owner.
Or what was it? What was it?
They have their
Thor
own
Ragnarok?
house. They're not
Slaves with
chained up.
jobs? Or no, what is it called? It's prisoners with jobs for slaves.
Anakin's able
They're
to have a
not slaves.
hobby.
They're prisoners with jobs.
You know, I still haven't seen Ragnarok.
You
Wait,
haven't?
really?
No.
Oh, wow.
And you were going to be the Josh McCouga of the Inner
You know, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. No, I just didn't see it when it was in theater. I had a house guest, and
Okay. Well, anyways,
It's been 5
So we don't-
years.
so it's still a mystery on Canary as to what's
Battle of
happened.
Yavin would have
I
happened
mean,
already.
kids.
Am
I mean,
right?
I'm
yes,
excited to find out what.
yeah. What happens to them after
Yeah.
that scene? Yeah, we have no idea. But so here's my little nitpick. When we see the leader go forward to go check the ship,
Yeah.
and then one of the crewmates jumps out and begins shooting at her. Which, why the fuck is he shooting at a kid?
Because he's evil.
He's terrified.
But we see his rebreather pack
Yeah.
on his hip has a Confederacy of Independent Systems, a separatist logo on it. And then later, when Mavra goes and finds Cassian in the engineering bay or whatever that room is, she says, "Well, you kids killed a Republic officer."
Well, why would it be a Republic officer if it's a
In-
Confederacy of Independent Systems?
Unless it's before the Clone Wars. Because we don't actually know that Cassian's 6 there. He could be 5, right?
I've been fighting this war since I was
Yeah.
2.5.
Right. Well, but that's the thing, right? If the war hasn't started yet, he gets picked up by Mavra, and then Mavra gets sucked
What's
into
that logo then for? It's just
Well, it still might be some sort
for
of
like, obviously the Confederacy of Independent Systems. They were the Commerce Guild. It could be
right.
one of those.
It could be one of the
that was
other
adopted.
trade guilds or something.
The
Or,
That would be something in the comments in the
Techno-Union
YouTube
Army.
comments.
yeah, let us know
Let us know in the comments
if I'm getting
Dance
and if I'm getting that wrong, or
Here's at
yeah,
your disposal, Count.
let us know if we're getting that wrong or if that was a faux pas on the show's end.
Yeah, we'd like.
But-
Yeah, let us know in the
I don't
comments.
know
It's not a faux pas.
It's all gonna be put together
because we don't know how far. Yeah, right. We don't know how far back that flight. And like,
I
do
mean,
we
you
know?
can't-
Wait, do we know how old Cassian
That's
is
how you answer
No,
the
in
question.
Rogue
don't.
One?
That's how you answer.
Oh, in Rogue One.
Do we know? Because then you can go. Well,
No, but we also don't know how far back that is. We don't know how far back the flashback is.
no, that's what I'm saying. If you knew how old Cassian is in Rogue One,
You could do the
then you go
math.
back to BBY5 and do the math there,
Then you see
and
his-
then you can basically figure
Oh,
out.
sure.
Divide by the
Interesting.
common denominator and
Yeah.
multiply by
No.
4.
carry the 3.
Frank, you're absolutely right. We could figure it out because
But let's not do that. Let's have you guys in the comments answer, and you let us know.
yeah.
Listen, all 5 of you out there that's
Moving on.
watching.
Moving on. Okay.
One of you.
Episode 2, we get the drama with Tim puts out the call.
Good Lord, Tim.
I think we've spoken enough.
Pour one out for Tim.
Fucking Tim.
Poor one. What?
Pour one out for Tim.
Pour out a cup of cough.
And
Cup of calf.
Cup of calf.
Get a calf.
actually, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't remember what happened in what episode. So
It's all one episode.
It really is.
I know. I mean,
I feel like there's like we talked about. There's a reason why they released it at 3.
Yeah.
The first 3. It's like it's a very slow burn.
But basically, Cassian's been trying to sell this Imperial
yeah.
part. Basically, it goes to Bix. She ends up sending out the signal to.
Yeah, we
Stellan
still haven't met
Skarsgård.
Luthen at this time. We don't get to meet Luthen until the next
Late-
episode.
episode
is it
three.
Luthen?
Luthen.
Luthen.
Yeah.
Luthen.
We don't get to meet him till the 3rd episode.
he gives that amazing.
I wanna
Jump
shout out-
ahead and talk about him.
I want to shout out when we see the shipyard on Ferrix, we see a Shadowcaster from Star Wars Rebels, and also we see one in Obi-Wan,
No, yeah, that's
and
what I'm talking
a Y-wing.
Let me talk about this for a second too. A lot of people were talking about how there's no Easter eggs, and I think Grace Randolph went off about how like this show doesn't have enough Easter eggs. If you're not paying, then you're not paying attention
You know
because
what,
there
Grace-
was blue milk in it. Do you guys not see? There was blue milk in it. There was a Wobani,
Excuse me.
Wobani
Yeah.
shout out.
Yes, that's how you know it's a Rogue One.
And you know
prequel.
what? You know what? Hey,
Dark Forces blaster.
and
Obviously,
let's
we talked
you know
about.
it just means you don't know Star Wars well enough to
Cassian
talk
Andor.
about.
Cassian.
Yeah,
He's in
Cassian
Rogue
Andor.
One.
He's in Rogue One.
Bacta, you hear the
What's
word Bacta?
the deal with that missing pair of gloves?
you know what? I love
you
that.
hear the Bacta name reference. You hear Parsecs like there. You
I
just gotta
love
look
that.
for it.
I love that when they're shouting for Bacta,
Bacta, yeah.
like,
Oh,
like
yeah.
medic.
I love it.
Right? I love that.
I love how that's very cool.
You guys ever use
episode-
that back to spray? It's really nice.
Cactus spray is great.
Yeah, I wish that was real.
Speak for yourself.
The best way to keep a knife sharp is to use it.
Yeah. What an interesting
What
line.
an interesting line.
I mean,
so many.
There's some great
Knives in my
that is
kitchen
the-
are dull. I use them all
That,
the
that was
time.
said by one of the Corsac officers.
Yeah.
So many. Going back again to that.
That's
that.
what a reckoning sounds like. Was a good
The hot
quote,
fuzz.
too.
Oh yeah.
That's what a reckoning sounds like.
This script. I mean, I love that when let's episode 2 we see. Basically, episode 2 is kind of about Cassian figuring out how he's going to get out of this murder investigation. We find out the comms broadcast goes out saying, "Hey, we're looking for a Canary male with dark hair."
Thanks
How
a
about
lot,
the speech
Tim.
too. The speech with Karn.
Well, so then we get that shot on the
Does
drop
he give
ship.
you Homelander vibe? Like I know a lot of people online have been talking about how he's more like the guy Sergeant from Aliens, which I see that too, Gorman. But I got a lot of like Homelander vibes. They would would zoom in on him, and he would look like he's in his head and he's just freaking out
Yes.
about something.
Yeah,
I got
absolutely.
Homelander vibes with
Absolutely.
Karn, but he has
Uh,
that speech, and everybody's just like, I don't want to listen to this. Freaking
Well,
guy.
yeah, because Homelander's kind of the same where he doesn't.
The Boys. You ever seen that?
Have you ever seen The Boys?
No, yeah.
Oh, wow.
What do you mean? You're my boys.
You know what, guys? Tune in.
See you guys.
I'm
every
looking
week.
at my boys right now.
Well, it's too much to explain, but Homelander, it's
Tune into Votcast, our other show where we talk with the boys.
No, but I heard
Vought Inc.
It's also
Vought
like
Inc.
those
And
scenes
tune into our Middle Earth OSHA violations podcast,
where he's like, flood the comms and all that. It's very like Bourne Identity,
Yeah.
from that flavor of government agency
don't carry anything on you. You
and
can't
surveillance
control.
and whatnot.
Well,
Yeah,
and that
that's
goes
cool.
back again to just police.
the police brutality.
overreaching
Well,
and-
and that's the thing is
In a sense, I guess.
where I say that they're not super heavy-handed, they kind of show within that dropship, and when we're seeing the scenes on the Corsac base, which I believe is on the first planet Morlana 1, or maybe it was on a different planet, I'm not sure. But when we're seeing, Morlana 1, Corsac HQ was Morlana 1. Checking my notes. We kind of see that, like, they all feel like they're doing the right thing. They all feel like they have a righteous cause. And then when we see that the actual strike team in the dropships, we kind of get that vibe of like, yeah. And one of them says like, if someone has a problem with us being here, tell them they can go to their council meeting and discuss it there. Right? It's just this so like disregard for the actual people living on this planet. And
I just like that it wasn't stormtroopers. They could have gotten lazy and had it be a garrison of stormtroopers. Instead, they had that corporate sector.
Well, because we get to see their faces.
Yeah,
And that's
another great thing.
This was a better telling of the Finn reaction, right? Not that Finn's was handled poorly. I thought Finn's was handled quite well, but such a different vibe when we see this. Like, Karn is I fucking love Karn as a villain.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with him. Like, I have a feeling like
he's gonna lose it.
I feel like he's just gonna get so obsessed, and he's gonna, but like
He's gonna snap.
Well,
yeah.
I think he's meant to foil. I know we're getting an ISB agent villain, Imperial Security Bureau villain. So I think he's meant to foil.
Is that woman in that's been in the trailers that we're talking about? Is that who we're thinking of, or you're thinking of?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know her character name.
So have a little infighting with the villains too.
Well, I don't even think necessarily an infighting, but I just think we're gonna get like I think they're meant to be foils, like we show the way the Empire does it versus Corsac, and they're similar, but they're just such a great villain.
There's
foil.
a hierarchy.
There's a hierarchy.
Like
and
they're almost like contracted out by the Empire to do this part, and then if the Empire doesn't like what you're doing, they come in and they bring their own people.
It is interesting, like watching the dynamic of what the Empire has to do in order to control all the systems.
Yeah,
because it's like they don't have the resources to control all the systems. Like, so that's why they have the Imperial Senate, because they need it up until the Death Star, and they need this like security bureau because they don't have the military force.
Yeah, I guess they empower the corporations. They have their own police, so that they're not so stretched out thin across the galaxy with garrisons and blah blah blah.
But why aren't they? So there's no police presence until that situation with Cassian, like because they obviously see the drop chip come from the other planet. So they had no police presence there until
on that planet. No, because that planet is labeled Ferrix, and then the subtitle for that is Morlani Free Trade Sector.
Great. Okay. Got
so
it.
it's still part of the Morlani system, but it's not something they're actively patrolling or actively securing. Hey, I want to go back, though, now that we're talking about those little subtitles. Kevin, you brought up the BBY-5.
Oh, yeah.
So it having BBY-5 there, yes, it's the in-universe way of telling time, but it's also not.
Although it wouldn't be in the universe,
because in universe
they
it
know
wouldn't.
There's a battle
they don't know there's a battle of Yavin. So that was exactly what I wanted to bring up. Was
what's the fuck is What Yavin?
Yavin? Is that a?
There's gonna be a battle at Yavin.
Well,
when?
and I'm
5
sure.
years from now,
and most of them probably don't know what Yavin's like. If I name a random field in. Ghana, you don't know.
It's like
right.
I know
5
that
years
field.
BC. It's like who's
Second
going to be
Street?
born in 5 years?
Second in Colorado.
The son of who?
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting because technically they use the Rusan Reformation. Well, at least in Legends, they use the Rusan Reformation as their.
What's that? You just sounded like you sneezed, and I'm bless you.
The Rusan
I
Reformation.
sneezed about 10 minutes ago.
The Rusan Reformation, if I'm not mistaken, is where we get, and this is Legends, and I could also be very wrong about
Legends.
what I'm citing this on, but I believe the Rusan Reformation is where we get a lot of the rules for how ships can be armed and the Republic having a standing army.
Yeah. Cool.
Which is one of the reasons why the Trade Federation has armed ships, because their argument is, well, we're protecting our shipments. It moves it's the point where we move the martial power from the Republic to independent planetary defense systems.
So there you go, Kevin.
Yeah. Speaking of the Trade Federation, I hate in episode 2 they use the Trade Federation when they show the Clone Army for the first time. That's the Trade Federation theme. Why would you have the Clone Army? I never understood that, by the way. I digress.
Well, no, I don't. Okay. That's an interesting topic.
Hey, make that headcanon in the future. It's another time. Make that headcanon for me so I'll enjoy it. But every time I hear it, I'm like, why are we hearing the clone? That was literally the Trade Federation.
Because they're serving the Clone Army is serving the same role in that film as the Trade Federation, we're seeing them in the same formations that we see the battle droids. It's meant to be a contrast between, because the argument
Instantly headcanon.
Yeah.
Now I like that.
So the
thing.
argument
That's
for the
why I bring these things up.
the argument for the clones
is
is that the clones are like they're sentient and they're people, but the way the Republic, or at least Palpatine, good old Sheev, the way Sheev wants to use them is basically as droids. In Attack of the Clones, there is no difference between the droids and the clones.
That might be a good segment one day. Fix my headcanon.
Yeah.
I think the real answer is that John Williams just got lazy that year. I mean, the exact same music from the speeder chase is used in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
You can
during
Google
the
it.
Quidditch
Google
match.
it. You can find it online.
The
It's
exact
literally
same
the
piece of
same
music.
track used.
Okay, we're not here to.
Let's wrap it up and get our final thoughts here.
Well, no, hold on. We got some stuff we got to tackle for episode 3.
Yeah, because episode 3 is
Episode 3 is fucking kick-ass.
Awesome.
I loved seeing that despite Cassian having all these enemies in the town, despite Cassian kind of having all of this, like,
people owing him money.
he owes everyone money. We see
deadbeats owe me a lot of money.
once they start banging those bells,
Love that.
we
the
see
intimidation.
But the town band together.
Mm-hmm.
They protect their own, which they kind
which
of
Tim did not do.
Tim fucked Tim. Fucked
Tim.
You know what? Hey, if anyone watching this show is named Tim,
With 2 M's.
Oh, here he goes.
just stop.
Just
Well, I
but
thought
if-
you were going to
if
say
it's
F
2
you to
M's.
that.
No,
Every
look,
episode you say
look,
fuck
if
you to
we-
our fans.
Yeah, that's Kevin. You're not supposed to call it out. You're not,
Sorry. I thought you were about to do it again. I'm like,
I was.
Sorry.
Tim, if you're watching, Tim,
Kevin, that's
Any
exactly.
Tim fans, fuck you, man.
Kevin,
That's him.
That was gonna be a bit.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You
sorry.
called it out.
Did I
You
blow
ruined the
your
bit.
bit?
Don't worry, not a lot of people are going to watch this, so you can keep doing it.
Okay, we'll keep doing
Tim,
it.
It's early. We're established.
if you're watching, pour me a cup of calf. Will you?
Every time I see a Tim, like, can I get a cup of calf?
Do we know any Tims?
Tim Franco,
Tim Franco.
Tim Franco.
Good man. Tim
But
Franco.
only one M.
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Don't know him personally, but heard.
Tim Allen.
Tiny Tim.
All right, so in episode 3, this is where we
The
finally
Rise of Tim.
The Kermit the Frog version of
conclude
Tiny
the
Tim.
Revenge of the
prelude
Tim?
of
Tim
this- of
Curry?
this arc. God.
Revenge of Tim M squared.
Timothy Oliphant.
Didn't
Oh, actually,
Tim?
that's the Star Wars.
Well, didn't Tim Curry voice the Emperor once?
Timmy.
So
in it, like a
in one of the
holiday
animated
specials?
after the gentleman that played him in
Ian
Clone Wars
Abercrombie?
passed.
I don't know.
I think he might have played.
Ian,
Anyways.
Ian Abercrombie.
Fitch.
He is
The
from
Emperor.
Seinfeld.
He is the Emperor in the Clone Wars.
What's his name in Seinfeld? Mr. Something.
Okay, so the 3rd episode of Andor.
Yes.
We finally get Luthen
What is his name?
to meet Cassian, right?
That's probably my favorite scene.
And
of the whole
as
thing.
as Sean was talking about, the
Cassian
banging
Andor.
on the symbols or whatever you want to call them, the metal clinking, really cool. That really sets like an impending.
Editorial.
It's the ticking clock, right? It's a
Yeah.
ticking clock kind of trope, right? And even with Marva in the home when she's getting ransacked and she's telling, well, wait till you see what happens when it stops. And that even also further accelerates the intensity and the anticipation of, okay, this is eventually going to stop. What's going to happen
And 'cause-
when it stops?
Because they could have easily done it where it's just like, oh, they all of a sudden get it. They could have done a shock value, right? Like the attack. And like you learn in film school, like what's more scary, right? You're 2 people sitting in a diner, all of a sudden the diner explodes, or what's more thrilling, the same scene, 2 people in a diner with a ticking time bomb on the bottom, and
Right.
you know it's ticking down, and you hear the tick tick. It's the same thing with that. So you're hearing all the bangs. What's going to happen when all the bangs stop? And then it does, and there's that hush.
The
right?
Reckoning. Yeah.
The Reckoning. that's the
I
sound
love
of
that
reckoning.
intercut with Mavra.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her little speech, and then of course what you were talking about too on our text thread about the one line that you said was like my wait.
Oh,
what do
well,
you-
Brandon.
Brandon had brought it up.
Oh, yeah?
When Luthen and Cassian are finally meeting face to face, and Luthen's basically figuring out Cassian, what he's all about, and he's like, I think I found something more. But then he's like, what's the line? What's the line, Brandon?
I don't know. I'm gonna
It was-
pull it
it
up.
you
pull
want
it
to
up.
fight these guys for real, or
Do you
whatever.
want to
fight these
fight? Do you want to
bastards?
fight the Empire for real?
You want to fight these bastards for real?
these
It's
bastards?
Didn't you
He
say it's the greatest Star Wars line of all time?
It's one of the.
It's-
I said
it's-
one of the greatest delivered lines.
It's such a well delivered line.
I mean, yeah.
While Brandon looks up,
gave me
while
chills.
Brandon looks up to confirm, Tim
I got
Curry
it.
played Sheev Palpatine in The Wrong Jedi, The Unknown, Conspiracy, Orders, Disappeared Part 1, The Lost One, Voices,
Of what?
and Sacrifice in the Clone Wars. After
Tim Curry?
Yeah, because Ian Abercrombie passed away.
Yeah, gotcha.
So he replaced Ian Abercrombie.
Good Tim
And then when they get to Rebels, it's Sam Witwer.
Yeah.
So in his best bootstrap Bill voice, he went, "Don't you want to fight these bastards for real?"
Yeah.
I mean, the way he
That was more Liam
He
Neeson.
loses his breath at the end of it.
He said
lets
it
go.
like
it was
he's been
said,
he said like he's been in this fight. Like
he
there's
says,
so much history.
He says every line
in
like
that line.
He says
Yeah.
every line in the show. Like we were joking before the show came out. Cassian Andor. Like
Cassian Andor.
And then
Like,
Andor, his day will come. He's not. He's
he is. I
Sling
never.
blade.
Yeah, that did sound very slang.
I never would have thought that I needed him in Star Wars,
Oh my god!
but he is.
I never thought we would need him in the MCU.
Oh,
And like the guy's just awesome.
and now,
He's
what's his fate? What
so
do we?
good.
Let's
Oh, he's
predict
gonna
his
die.
fate. Never
He's
telling me
gonna
the
die.
odds.
Oh,
The
he does.
original show,
He's
the name of
gonna
this podcast
die.
is going to be called "Never Tell Me the Odds."
He's gonna be on.
Tell me the odds.
He's gonna be
What's
on Alderaan
happening?
watch, and then like
But
that's
there's
how he
no
goes.
chance. There's no chance he makes it out.
There's no way. There's no
Who
way.
kills him? Vader.
No.
No,
I think he's-
okay.
I think he's
They
gonna
better
be
keep
Alderaan.
Vader out of this
Yeah,
series.
we
I
don't
bet
see
there's
Vader.
no way Tony Gilroy is going to
No.
be like, "Oh yeah, let's put Vader in for the fans."
Look,
but
what
who
if-
kills?
I think
What
he's
if-
probably gonna probably gonna sacrifice himself
What
for
if we
Cassian.
do
Early
another?
on?
What if we
For
just
Ca-
do
I don't know
another
about early
hallway
on.
scene?
this season or next season? Is
This season? No, he'll die at the season finale. I think.
Oh,
so
you think
he's
so?
not in next season. Do we not know? If
I don't
he's
know.
at the-
I don't know the cast list for next season, but
I would hope they add him to the
knowing-
cast list. Just
I
to-
think he because there's a time jump. Remember,
I want to
Yeah.
see. I mean, I want to see him interact with American Draven
I-
and the other,
I would love that too.
like the other Rebel brass. Once we actually
We
get
could do flashbacks.
or the other thing too. We
And there it is. And water finally.
Wow.
wow,
Wow.
here we are
Come on,
again.
That's our show, dude.
That's our. You know what? And that's the show.
That's it. Let's go.
No, not really. We're not.
I
We're
don't know
not.
why that was our closing song.
Well.
Well, anyways, I do want to see him with the other rebellion brass.
I think we
Yeah.
will, won't we?
as you will.
Well, maybe not because five BBY.
Is there a time jump at all coming up in the next episodes?
We don't know.
Okay.
I believe. I don't quote me.
God,
on
we
this.
are a well-oiled machine here.
Dude. It's great.
We were going
too-
so good for an hour
Too
and a half.
oiled, and then it fell.
Anything can happen here on the volume.
Well, okay, I see the problem. Why? I see why. Okay. We'll talk about it after.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah,
Um,
but the problem
We'll
is,
debrief
so-
you later what you
is
missed.
that
So-
rebellions are built on hope.
Yeah, rebellions are built on hope.
And this might
And-
stay.
and
Are we going to
this
hear
show-
someone say that to him? Because he's the first one to say it to Jin.
Cassian. Yeah.
Cassian is. So are we going to hear this?
It's
going to
be his last words. It's gonna be.
Here's
I'm
the
going to cry. If that happens, I'm going to cry.
here's the
on hope.
I'm
here's the
crying
problem.
already.
I don't expect Skarsgård's going to be the one to say it. What's his name?
That'd be
I forget his name
dope.
already.
What?
Stellan Skarsgård.
What's the character's name?
Luthen.
Luthen. I don't expect Luthen's.
Luthen Vandross.
Luthen doesn't seem
season
like
two
the guy to
movie,
say rebellions are built on hope, right?
bet he
Maybe
could do
maybe
that.
he is, right? We'll find out once we get a little more from his character. But he doesn't seem like the one to say that. I would like to hear Mon Mothma say that to
But
Cassian.
yes.
That
Yeah.
won't work
Or-
because
or Bail.
she's trying to say that to Mon Mothma in that meeting. in
Oh,
Rogue
that's a-
One.
Oh, yeah.
She'd be
Yeah,
like, "Why are
that's
you
a-
saying my line?"
okay.
I guess maybe that line's not going to be said at all. How about that?
I just
That's a fair point.
How dare
Yeah.
you?
I want to
It's
see
gonna be
Mon
said
Mothma
by
in
Luthen
the
on his
Imperial
dying
Senate,
death.
and then have some random senator shout out, "What is she proposing?"
That
Well,
would be-
okay. Here's a thought. What if Mavra says it,
Maverick?
or Marvra? Marvra?
Top,
Mavra?
if
Mavra?
Top Gun.
Are we going to
Maverick
see? Are they going to
says-
get reunited? again?
Navra.
Yeah,
Or maybe his sister.
I sure fucking.
That's the Rogue
I
Squadron.
sure
movie
fucking
we
hope.
need.
Well, okay, so you had suggested the thing about his sister being an Imperial. What if she's a partisan? Oh no, because the problem is we can't.
She's two tubes.
Yeah, she's Enrio Two Tubes.
Yeah. I don't think.
But there was also
Well, is
that.
she Enrio or
It's
Benthic?
a funny joke if you know who two
but
tubes is.
he was also
Well, there's
following
two
a
of them.
lead that a
There's
Canary
two
woman was
tubes?
There's
working at
Enrio
that
and
brothel.
Benthic. They're brothers.
Benthic is the one I was thinking.
Okay.
Of. Benthic
Yeah,
was the
that's
one I
right.
had in my Schmodown
She
notes when I would
disappeared.
study
is
for.
what
Well, they're both in that movie.
said.
Oh wow.
Did you hear what
There's
we
two
were
of
talking?
them.
Did you guys just hear what we were talking about?
No,
No,
we're
I said-
talking about Benthic Two Tubes.
And I don't know if
Enrio
anyone
Two
else could really decipher what was going on here right now.
Tubes. No, don't worry. You'll cut it. You'll cut through.
I
it.
will not.
You'll choose the more important conversation, which is obviously Benthic two tubes.
Disagree.
No, we were just talking about. We kind of just overstepped or overlooked that line when the woman in that bar when she's talking to Cassian, about that woman, she just disappeared. Like,
Yeah, there was a
Right.
There
Canary
was
woman
a
working
Yeah,
Canary-
there.
and
So-
she disappeared. Yeah.
Which one?
but what does disappear?
I
mean?
don't think you
Like,
don't
leave
know.
a brothel to go work for the Empire. That's all I'm saying.
No, you do not. but
that's one hell of a promotion.
yeah. So Kevin, what we are
Yeah,
talking
interesting.
about?
Got it. I got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless it's a different Canary woman.
It could be a different Canary woman, but I mean, she could
Super
be.
Canary Brothers.
She could be she could be a bounty hunter or a.
Oh, I hope they don't do that because I don't want to spoil it, but that's one of the storylines I have in
Oh my
the
God.
Revenant series.
Unreal.
if
I really do. Please don't make her a bounty hunter. Thank you.
If you've seen his movie.
These
By-
guys haven't seen my movie, so they
By
won't.
the way,
You
Kev-
won't let me.
Kevin, I think
Or the Kenobi cut that Brandon Twig and I did.
we
but
need
mostly
to-
Twig. He's
we-
he's the best. I forgot
we
to say
need
that
to
last week.
we need to keep we need to make sure we keep running bits. I think if you've seen my movie, is a good bit.
Oh yeah, you saying fuck
I
off
think
to people.
me telling
Yeah, you can-
fans
yeah,
to
fuck you.
go f themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Him saying random things. I don't know.
Moment of silence for Tim.
No, Brandon will make sure that we
Do a moment.
spotlight. We do a spotlight for everyone.
No, we always have a moment of silence for Tim on every show.
I think we should try to wrap things up and talk about where
Listen,
you guys
he just
place
had a
this.
bad bitch he was trying to protect. You know what I mean?
I get it, bro. But bad play. Don't play it like that. You don't play it like that.
I'm curious where you guys. One thing I've been noticing in some of the fandom is sometimes you like something, and in order to like that, you have to
Hate on everything else.
hate on other things down, right? I think there's room at the top for everyone. Higher tide rises all ships. I like Rings of Power. I like House of the Dragon. I don't think one's mutually exclusive. So I'm curious. So to be honest, if we're gonna right now rank our series, I know it's only 3 episodes in, and I could change my tune. I still, because Kenobi hit me a different way than I think a lot of people, Kenobi still ranks higher for me.
Okay.
Than this show right now, and I'm sure that the people that don't allow for people to have their own opinions on Star Wars can come after me.
Well,
about
I
that,
want
but-
to talk about something interesting here. What if we only rank it because we only have 3 episodes? If we rank it when we're talking about Mandalorian, let's only talk about Mandalorian season 1, because otherwise we have so much Mandalorian, right? Like if I'm only tracking Mandalorian season 1,
3 episodes in, you're saying, or just season?
no,
one?
we can go full season, right?
Well, I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are right now.
This
overall.
right now, if this pattern holds for this show, this is my number 1, and this is everything I want out of this show in Star Wars. I think they've handled their premise, their goal, their message, their tone, and we didn't really talk about it, but the characters in this show, I can do a whole series on Ferrix, or in the core. I know we're not getting that right, but like based on how strong the acting and the characters are and the world building are for Ferrix and the rest of the
and
core
think about
sec
the
we're
world
seeing,
building too.
right?
That first episode, you could have stripped away everything about the story would exist in you could have written that, and it was not in the Star Wars universe. And it would be just as powerful.
I would say that about all 3.
But that's
of
why
these.
I'm saying this show right now for me is a solid right number 2. Right, I love Kenobi. I'm a Kenobi stan. What can I say?
I'm assuming if this holds the pattern that it's in, it would, for me, it's Andor, Mandalorian, Kenobi, Book of Boba.
All right, so for me,
And
it would
I
be-
love, and keep in mind, I have, for me, Star Wars TV has not missed. I love Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I think Book of Boba Fett is on par with this as far as messaging. Completely different themes and different messaging than this show. They're not going for the same thing. But I think this show,
it's okay.
I think this show and Book of Boba Fett have both had the strongest messaging. This show just pulls off everything else so well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if I'm trying to say my ranking, then I would say right now, I would do Obi-Wan. Right now, I still I feel like by the end this is going to get me because it's already getting me the feels. That's the Sound of the Reckoning, like really emotionally moved me. But I think it's just because I'm so not obsessed, but love the characters of Kenobi so much. I would go Kenobi. I would go this show right now. The first 3 episodes, I know it's early, and then I would go Mando for sure, Mando, and then Book of Boba Fett. But again, I like them all, so like that's not an order. It's a starting lineup, by the way, where everybody's on the all-star team. What about you? What's your rankings? What do you think of the show?
This would be my number 1. Andor would be number 1. I think that could totally change with season 3 of Mandalorian because season 3 looks. That trailer has got me so hyped. So So with that said, Mandalorian would be number 2 right now for me. Then Obi-Wan, then Boba. Yeah.
Where's the Star Wars holiday special lineup in there?
If
Never
we're
seen
adding
them.
that in, sorry, then this is number 2.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, of course. Brandon, what about you?
Thinking Discovery, Picard,
Wait, you rank Picard that?
Voyager.
He's like,
Hold on,
wait a
hold
minute,
on, hold
Picard?
on, hold on.
Have you Picard
Don't
season-
have Picard that high.
Have you seen the trailer for Picard season 3? By the way, we lost all of our Star Wars fans.
I haven't seen any of those shows.
The
Thank
trailer for season
God.
3 is like a reunion. It's going to be a reunion with everybody from the next generation.
Listen, if Worf and Tim got into a brawl,
What do you think?
Worf
of
would
that?
and,
I
Tim,
go-
and
oh my
Tim,
by the way,
God.
I
Tim
would
was
like to
all
label
hyped
this.
up on Calf,
I would,
right?
I'd like to label this our all
He's
too
stimmed
early.
up on Calf.
I'd like to label this our all too early rankings, obviously, because you never know. The show could take it to complete. I mean, I don't think it will, but you know.
No, there's no
What are
way.
your all too early rankings in the Star Wars mythos right now? Let's see how this show gripped you in the first 3 episodes.
I like them all. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm watching Book of Boba Fett, and I go on Twitter and I see people going like, "Oh, it's so slow. What is this story? Blah blah blah." And I'm just like, I liked it.
he wrote a
You know
Rancor.
you know what's
That's
funny?
the raddest thing
I'm
ever.
Even,
He
I'm
Boba
even
Fett wrote
going
a
back in
Rancor.
my head after I've said it. I'm going back in my head and switching Boba Fett and Kenobi.
So Boba Fett above Kenobi.
I think so because
Interesting.
You need
like,
to watch my Kenobi.
I mean, like,
you need to
I
watch
do.
my Kenobi cut.
You're right.
I don't-
haven't.
I don't-
thought-
Sorry.
Have you watched my KOTOR movie? Yeah, go ahead.
I don't necessarily like love that like partial way through Book of Boba Fett. It's like Mandalorian
Yeah.
season 2.5.
Yeah.
That was a weird.
The episodes are amazing, but it's a weird like
weird
like
decision.
a weird turn, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it kind of like comes together at the end.
You know what?
It's a weird turn, like Book of Henry.
Do you remember? You know how there's
just
a,
like
there's
Book
a
of
comic-
Henry.
Book of Fett.
Marvel used to have a
my God.
Marvel used to have a comic just called Star Wars. And
Stay
it would
away
be-
from
you
the
never,
books.
Or Dark Horse would have a comic called Star Wars, and you'd never know what.
This
the
is why I
next
don't
episode
read.
was.
This is why I don't read.
Never mind.
But
yeah. So
I don't.
yeah.
I honestly, it's hard for me to rank them.
But do it though, right now.
You gotta try it.
I
Gun to
do.
your
I
head,
do
pal.
love Kenobi.
Blaster to your head.
Filer blaster. To your
My
head.
prequel loving heart.
Yeah.
So Kenobi number
Oh,
one.
that's the scene on Coruscant.
If we're only doing Mandalorian season 1, I'll do Book of Boba Fett. Or no, Andor, Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian season 1.
So it took a while for Mandalorian to get his grips into you.
Yeah, it did. I wasn't like super into it the first season, and then I started,
Oh, wow.
and then I got like all caught up, and I started watching the second season. And I don't know, the first season is maybe like a more structured, better contained story, but they go a lot of cool, interesting places in season 2.
Yeah.
I actually
I love the Jawa
I-
episode
yeah.
though, where he's
I-
getting
I
his
kind of
ass
want to
kicked by the
refute
Jawa.
that. I think The Mandalorian is the most disjointed of the shows because of the way it's told as a serial western kind of
Kinda
episodic.
jump around.
Yeah, but I think that's what appeals to me in
Sure.
rewatchability. Is
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
can
yeah.
just throw
It's
that
not
thing
a-
on, and
it's-
I'm
You don't know
like,
what's
That's
happening.
that's
Yeah.
not a
Great.
bad thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing.
But I feel like we all like, so we're all happy customers. like,
Yeah,
so
we have-
thank you.
we have
Disney.
no-
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't think any of us have any complaints.
Yeah.
Or
Kylo Ren.
I wonder what I like to do that today because I want to see at the end of season 1 if our
Where we
rankings
still-
change. So it's always good to like get a like.
I
how
can
did that
already
first?
tell you.
Yeah.
I think if we
Not gonna change.
get Chief Palpatine in full makeup in front of the Imperial Senate, like going like, "We need to do stuff and things."
You know, I don't know.
Maybe a
them all
hollow.
going,
There might be hollow
"Yeah!"
footage of him doing it.
I'm
I
not.
bet you.
I'm not actually sure if does Sheev run the Imperial Senate. I don't know that.
I don't know.
Maybe
Doesn't
because
she? Doesn't even Leia say the Imperial Senate would not sit still for this? Like,
Right.
They're not.
yeah, the Imperial Senate.
but he might, and he's not, and you know, Sheev's not going to come in there and try to do an impassioned speech to like get Proposition 80 passed. Yeah, I need more space lanes for Coruscant.
He might because
My
they,
young,
the Empire
Coruscant
needs
space
the
lanes.
Senate's cooperation to function.
Yeah.
properly.
I want to be able to smoke cigarettes at casinos and cantinas. Vote yes on Proposition
the fact that I-
66.
the fact that I cannot smoke my. The fact that I can't smoke my death sticks in the Outlander
And what-
Club
you
anymore
know what
is
happens?
outrageous.
He accidentally says Proposition 66, and then all the clones start going skits again, start killing people.
Bring back Fathiers to Canto Bite.
That one got passed. That one got passed.
got passed. You know what got passed? The runtime.
the runtime.
Yeah.
That's your
Isn't that
other
the show that you
podcast.
host?
yeah, yeah.
The runtime.
Actually, you know what? Actually, as we wrap up here, that's a good point because the Showdown Rundown is back on the Movie Trivia Showdown Archives channel. Myself and Brad, we're doing a 2-part spectacular 7 preview, which the day you're watching this is also the day the first part of that has come out.
I'm
next
on it.
week. You are totally on it in spirit. And
I wrote the whole thing. It's all scripted.
it's right. Spectacular 7, that is.
Yeah.
I feel
not
like
believe
you're
who
gonna
wins
get
the championship.
I feel like you're gonna. This is a bad
It's a
situation
puppet.
down here. You're gonna get electrocuted.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Water and wires. That's
They're
my band
encased in
name.
rubber.
Water
They're
and wires.
insulated.
Yeah, they're insulated.
Emo band from Seattle.
So, anyways, as we're all wrapping up here, go check out the Movie Trivia Showdown Archives channel with a rundown. Brad Gilmore and myself, and Kevin.
Not according to my script.
Say goodbye, Kevin.
Goodbye, Kevin.
Brandon, say goodbye, Brandon.
Goodbye, Brandon. I really
Sean-
wanted to say goodbye, Kevin.
Sean, say goodbye, Brandon. Yeah, you thought I was gonna say-
You know what, fans? Before I say goodbye, I just want to bring up meme mania, meme
madness.
meme madness.
Madness.
Oh my God.
Cuts print. Check the tape.
Hey, so because of the runtime of us reviewing Andor, we're pushing meme madness till after Andor, or at least when we're not reviewing 3 episodes of Andor.
Right.
Because wow,
For the record, I was prepared. I've got some doozies.
he's got a couple dookies in the tank. Yeah.
Dookie doozies.
Doozy
dookies.
But hey, look, you can find all of
Wearing
our
a short doozy dookie.
you can find all of our social media
Doogie
handles
Howser.
Don't forget
in
about the Discord.
in the comments below. Description below.
Discord.
Maybe the comments too.
Yeah, in the comments and the description.
We're really
You know what?
good
Hey,
at
Your local
promoting
paper
ourselves at
and your
all,
penny
are we?
saver.
if you're watching this, just post one of our social media handles in the comments. That'd be great. You can find all that in the description. Join the Discord. We're gonna start putting polls and stuff up in there and talking to you guys and seeing what you
We
guys
have it.
want out of this show.
We have a Twitter and an Instagram
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
and a TikTok
That's right.
for all you Gen Z people.
All the links in the description. If you would go and follow those, that'd be great. If you subscribe to this channel, that'd be great. We should have said
Yeah.
that up top, but we're saying it now.
I was
an
too
hour
busy
and 40
cracking really bad jokes, and to be honest, I cracked way better jokes in Legends before we hit the record button.
You know what's funny
You
is
used that joke last
it was
true.
Brandon's job.
It was better last week when you said
It was Brandon's job to do the call to action mid show, and we totally forgot about it.
Yeah, honestly, my professionalism just went out the window the moment we hit record today.
Yeah.
As soon as he was
out
too
the window
shaken
like
up about
Obi-Wan.
Tim.
Jumps out the window.
Nah, more like Mace Windu guy.
Wow.
I really love our
coming back
new
from that
method
guy.
of. I really love our new method of just keeping to talk after we've said
Yes.
goodbye. I think that what we should do is
Just
Fade
cut it
out.
off right
is-
now. Cut out.
Well, no, I think we should
Goodbye,
just do that
so
and just cut it,
long.
and Frank can cut it wherever he wants.
It's gonna fade out. We're fading out.
Hey, let's
as we
fade out
speak.
right now. Ready? Watch.
Right now.
Ready? Fade out.
Like, subscribe.
Fade out.
It's like Back to the Future.
Scoundrel. Scoundrel. I like the sound of that.